around with the dead. On demand almost. We'd be like, hey, can you like touch the duck or make it go off? And it would just start lighting up and going crazy.
Why should we be afraid of you?
Hello and welcome to Whatgoesbump of the Night. I'm your host, Riley Clark, and alongside me is
Trevor Jensen. Finally, I'm back. I'm alive.
and our special guest, Ethan from Wulf Paranormal.
What's up, guys?
Ow, ow!
Doing good. Glad
the
to have
fun
you
wolf
on
owl.
the show.
Glad
So,
to be here, man.
Sweet.
let us know. Where you from, Ethan?
I am from Maryland, unfortunately. Yeah.
See, we were guessing before this, and I was like, I don't know. It's like we talked to a lot of people from a lot of different places. So,
Yep, I'm from the East Coast, the crab city, crab country.
crab
Awesome.
country. I do love me some crab.
Oh, yeah, we
All
got
right.
the best crabs.
So, with all that being said, on the East Coast, what are some of the locations that you've gotten the privilege to investigate, and like, what are some of your favorite ones out of those?
So, my favorites definitely Forest Haven Asylum.
I don't know if I've heard of that one.
It's an abandoned asylum. I can't go there, but you can if you really want to. You know,
You'll find ways.
yeah, it's in Laurel, Maryland,
Mhm.
about an hour from where I lived, and it's hands down one of the most haunted places I've ever been to in my life. The spirits there are so interactive, and we made relationships with some of them in our times of going there. Like, we would go back and always talk to the same spirits in the same spots, and just made friendships with them, really. So that place,
So-
Interesting.
When you would communicate with them, are you saying like they would like speak to you like EVP, or like would you
Oh,
get
yeah.
like responses on like anything else? So like would you get same voices coming through like
Yep.
multiple different days? That's so fucking wild.
we would get the same voices, and then we would get the same device activity in the same spots, responding to our questions.
That's
And
interesting.
one of the main spirits was a little girl named Clarabelle, and her name was still written on the bed that was left over.
Oh,
at the
shit.
place.
Oh,
So we would
she
go-
was for real for sure.
Oh yeah, we would go to her bed every single time, and she would
Mhm.
always come stop in and say hi and talk to us for about 30 minutes.
Did you ever just feel drawn in there? Like
Oh,
before
yeah.
you knew about all that? Like was there just like that pull that just
Yes.
for some reason?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We
For
got
both
that
of us,
same
too.
feeling at Old Lincoln County Jail. Like before we went, we had heard the history about it, and like where one of the ladies in the lady jail that had caught on fire and like perished in that cell. We were like, dude, let's find that shit. And it was like there was just like this anchor of energy that was just like, here's the post. All right, come on.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Found
we
it.
literally
Yep.
waited all night that night to go to her cell. We'd been shown where it was in the tour, but then we're like, can't. That's like our first spot.
But
We're
also
going
that
there.
when it went black and they were like, here's free time, it's like, I don't know what fucking floor I'm on.
yeah,
Right.
I don't know
we
where I'm
just knew
at.
it was on like the third floor because that was the women's cell block.
And everything was like a mirror, like floor wise. So like every cell block was like a mirror of each other. So it was like, I really have no idea.
And we
where
just
I'm at.
randomly walked into a cell and we're like, I wonder if this is the one. And then we looked out. Sure enough, black was right there.
Wow.
It's like,
That's
that's
cool.
weird. So it's like, I like the fact that that bed had her name on there as well is like that. You can't tell me that there isn't like an energy or like that isn't
Yeah.
like a lightning rod.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, there's like 20 something buildings on the property, all
Holy
abandoned.
shit.
Wow.
It's
It's
a
huge.
whole complex.
It's a whole complex. Yeah, it was self-efficient, but they closed down because they were known for mistreating patients
oh
very,
shit.
very terribly. Like there's
Yeah.
even at that same place or I was reading on the internet one day about some of the history there, and it says there was a boy, 21-year-old man who was severely handicapped,
Mhm.
and he had mysteriously drowned in a bathtub in one of the wings.
Mysteriously.
Mysteriously.
Allegedly.
And he was last seen sleeping at like 4:30 in the morning. He was found dead in the bathtub at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So we found the tub. We found the tub he died
Oh
in.
shit! And was it like the like actual tub too? Like it
Yes.
wasn't like a replica. It
It was the actual
legitimate
tub. The actual
Damn.
tub. And he would talk to us every time we went there as well.
That's fucking gnarly.
And he told us he was murdered.
Yeah.
And that whole video, it's on my channel. It's the Forest Haven video. It's crazy. It's some of the most spectacular evidence I think I will ever catch doing this. I mean,
That's so interesting.
practically solving, a murder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's
For
a.
sure.
I was gonna say, like, if you don't see that as like a cold case, or like
Yeah.
somebody who didn't get justice, or maybe that somebody didn't seek justice for him, which is still wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Which probably
exactly.
nobody did.
he just
because-
gave you the confirmation himself, like, hey, like,
Yep.
I'm 100% like restless here. Like, I need somebody to know this.
So since we are kind of true crime junkies,
No,
A
yeah.
little bit.
has the boy told you who did it?
No.
No.
He would
So he
never
might
tell
not
us.
even know.
He
Well,
might not even know.
Handicapped
Or,
too.
yeah,
Like,
he
you
was
would- it
severely
would make sense if
handicapped.
he couldn't.
He was severely handicapped, and he also told us he was scared to tell us.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that
Well, he
spirit
just
is
got
up in there
drowned.
too.
Like, fuck,
Mhm.
I would be scared too if somebody hold me underwater and
Well,
was like,
what if
bye.
What if, like, when someone commits a crime so terrible like that, like when they die, even if it's years later, like, what if they are forced to like live that
Yeah.
moment?
Oh,
over and
you are
over again?
fucking cruel.
No,
I
that
mean, that would be hell,
terrible.
wouldn't it not?
Dude, that just
I
if-
think that's
does this apply
an
to
actual.
everybody?
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Because like
I know
if
that
every
does
time
happen,
you
though.
die, you relive that death. Like if you're stuck, if every let's say everybody that
And
doesn't
if you
cross
take
over.
someone's life, you're forced to live with that as well.
I mean, yeah, but like if you don't cross over to whatever plane of existence is after, if there is, which I mean, still don't know.
yeah.
Like, what if you are reliving that traumatic event every fucking like however long it takes or whatever loop cycle it's on? Like, fuck that.
See, I don't know why that only applies to certain spirits, because certainly not every spirit goes through that. At least the ones that
Right.
I've talked
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, it sometimes seems like locations you will get like it seems like somebody's like hitting like playback on like a VCR or something, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just playing it back.
Like I went to Gettysburg this year with Spirit
Mhm.
Stalkers, and we were doing
Nice.
an Estes
They're coming
method.
up.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. I love them. But we were doing an Estes method in this restaurant. It's my most recent video, and I was the one that was wearing the headphones, saying what I heard.
Right.
And the spirit kept coming through, and he said that he's going in circles over and over, round and round.
Mm.
And I don't know if that applies to living the war or dying over and over again, but he says
Yeah,
that
or
he's
the
like stuck in
cycle.
a cycle pretty much.
Yeah.
It's so
That's interesting as hell.
I know I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works. I don't know why it only applies to certain spirits.
It's so hard to comprehend all this stuff because like you
It
want
is.
the answers really bad. Like that's all I want is just answers.
And
Yeah.
for some reason, the spirits just can't give you that answer.
What
no
if
matter how
what if
hard
they
they
just
try.
never get those answers either? Like I mean, obviously,
yeah,
like
it's-
they're stuck where they are, or what is happening, like they don't understand either. So like if you ask them those type of questions, like, well, fuck you too. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like what
Well,
do you mean?
I do think some of them just don't know, because we told the soldier that the battle's over. It was 106 something years ago, and the first response after that was, "Oh my god!" Like really?
Yep.
Like it's like we just told him that the
Yep.
war's
As
over.
he's like, right flank.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Charge the hill!
Cavalry. Fuck. I
But I
mean,
don't-
that is really interesting too, because like you think when you think of Gettysburg or like places like that, you like people always say they hear the sound of the cannons going off or musket
Mhm.
fire and shit like that, and it's like, well, is it the echoes of like that the energy that is being placed there from those events, or is it legitimately like these spirits and entities are still fighting in a perpetual, never-ending battle?
And then what happens when you add a reenactment on top?
oh yeah, yeah.
Well, then it's a mind fuck because like if one of them is like gets shot, dies, and like comes to our side, and that's when we see him, like it's like that's like the loop is like they die, come back to our side, we see him as a spirit, and then they die again. You know what I mean? It's like
Well, like see, they do reenactments there all the time. So
Mm,
I wonder if that is part of the reason why spirits keep reliving.
right.
battle.
Like you're stirring up the energy and like you're obviously
Right.
replaying that exact event. I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably not like completely like to a T, which I
Definitely
mean they
not
probably
as
do their
bloody.
best, but
Definitely not as bloody.
yeah.
Yeah, and plus,
Not
even
taking
when-
nothing away
when-
from reenactors.
Well, even when the reenactors are doing that, they're putting off energy as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I'm sure that feeds into it in some way.
Well, it's like taking like
feel like it
car
has to.
battery and like sticking jumper cables on it and hooking them to your nipples. Like you're supercharging it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've seen people do it. You've probably even done it yourself on an investigation. Like, say you're investigating a hospital, like dress up in scrubs and
Mhm.
act like you're going to see a patient. Like one of you be a patient, and then just like have this
Yeah.
reenactment and like see if it sparks
It's
anything.
Trigger objects.
Yeah.
Yeah, except you're
know?
becoming the object.
Yeah.
And
See, I like to play
reenacting
Naughty
the
Bears.
war, reenacting the
Yeah.
war is just one
It's
giant
nice.
trigger object.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
I do.
it's-
I do really enjoy using trigger objects because it's such a good idea. And like, you can use basically fucking anything. Like, you go to a bar. Well, people could smoke back in the day. Like, if it was a speakeasy or something, like fucking have a cigar. Like, if you set it on the table in an ashtray, like, I mean, if the owners are there and they're like,
Smoke-
light that shit
Smoke
up.
can actually be a
Yep.
good like paranormal indicator. Too,
Oh yeah,
they can,
because
like,
you can see like the
move-
spinning of
move
the
the
air
smoke.
if there's like a different
Yeah.
pressures and things. I didn't even think about that, honestly.
that's I always use those as trigger objects when I go to like prisons or jails. Like, do you want a cigarette? I'll
Yeah.
give you a cigarette if you.
Yeah, like bubble
Well, I mean-
flare.
Oh yeah, for sure. I bet they go crazy.
Oh, they
I
do
got
every
a
single time.
ho-ho. Ah, that's fucking cool. I mean, so how close would you say like you are to a lot of these like locations that you are able to go investigate? Because we're I would say we have a couple that are in like a reasonable location, like time travel wise, but generally it's so hard to find things in Michigan. Everything's so obscure around here.
Yeah, I mean, well, the East Coast is just riddled with
Just packed.
historic places. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
it's if you want to be an investigator, you should definitely live on the East Coast.
Hell yeah.
Because I mean, you can drive 20 minutes either direction and find something really. You know,
Really? How many investigations would you say you've done?
Oof. Man,
So, like, all right, are we going like under 50, above 50?
I would say above 50.
Damn, fuck.
Damn.
Riley, we are fledglings.
We
Like,
are. We're
Jesus.
so green, bro.
I,
We're
like-
so green.
But
We think that we've
some of
done
the,
so
a lot
much.
of those are redos.
Repeat places. Yeah, which
Yeah.
there's no shame in that. Like,
No.
that's
Right.
what I think some people like.
we definitely have our favorite spots that we just have.
Yeah,
to go
and
to.
I'm always like, oh man, we shouldn't do more content here because like that's not what people want to see. They want to see new stuff. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you're getting confirmation that you're going back to these places and you're having activity every time, well, now you got like a baseline.
That's what you're
So-
doing it for, right?
Yeah, and
know?
that's what we've always said too. Like one like Mouth is a very good example because we have multiple investigation videos up on there, and we've done more than just the ones that we've put out on video. But
Yeah.
the one time we went, explosive stuff, just every fucking minute it seemed like something was going crazy.
literally
like,
from the moment we pulled up.
Then the next time you went there, nothing. Like it just seemed like it was dead. And then the next day,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, we had some, but not a whole lot. But it was more lively than the day before. Like I don't understand.
It's
happens.
weird how that works like that. You know?
Yeah. Because
I mean,
we went to Mouth one day and then we went back literally the next night and did it again. Nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I've had
And-
nights like that at Forest Haven, you know?
Yeah, that's
Crazy
wild
active,
because
and then-
Forest Haven is supposedly like extremely active from what I've
Oh,
heard.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had more activity there than not, but there
Yeah.
has been dead nights, you know? I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
What would you say your success rate is? Like, I know that's like a funny question to ask, but it's like, would you say when you go on investigations, you have things happen more times than not, or less times
Yeah.
than happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More times than not, for sure.
Do you think
What-
you're like perceptive to it, or like
Yes.
somewhat like it's
Empathic.
following you? Yeah, I guess like that's a good way of putting it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always been in tune with the spirit world ever since I was a little kid.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just always managed to get pretty good evidence. I don't know why it is, but and I do have things follow me sometimes as well. So, like, if we're not getting any activity from the spirits in the place themselves, my attachments are talking and coming through, which is pretty weird. I actually had something follow me from the Villisca Axe Murder House.
So yeah, you're not the only one that has said that.
Zach.
Yeah.
Yep. We just went back
It's
there
such a dark
together.
energy.
Do you think it's the same spirit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
attached to both of you.
how many people died in that house? 5?
8.
Something like that? 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 people got murdered with a fucking axe. Yeah, I could see something trying to oppress other people that are like coming and seeking,
Oh,
you know, like that
dude,
entity.
it is so evil. It's terrible. Like that is easily the scariest place I've ever been in my life.
Really? So
Yeah.
I know you're probably gonna say like everybody else that does investigation too. Like it's not like you're scared when you go on investigation. It's more of like an exhilaration for me, at least
Right.
personally. But like there are a few times where I have been legitimately like I'm spooked the fuck out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
like
no.
that house in particular did it for you.
Yeah, like I'll go into rooms by myself. I'll walk
Mhm.
down dark hallways alone. I'll go do solos. But that house scares me. Like it
Damn.
really, truly scares me. I don't know what that is that's there, but it is pure evil. It is pure evil. Simple as that.
So what's your take on like demonic entities and things like that? Do you believe that demons are like a thing, or our take on it is like there probably is really no such thing as a demon, but there are
Yeah,
like evil entities, because if you're an asshole in life, you're probably an asshole in death, and if you're a
yeah,
bad guy in life, same thing, you know, the list goes on.
yeah. So I've never really been too big on the whole demon thing. Um,
Like
I
you can
mean,
have faith and everything, but
right.
it's hard to say.
But I will say, the first time my attachment from Villisca came through was when I was at the Monroe Demon House in Indiana. That's the first time it showed
Hmm.
itself, and it told me who it was because it's like I know you, I remember you, and then it said Axe House, like
Oh
all
shit.
during an Estes.
That's fucking gnarly.
So
See, and like to echo the point too, like I've been doing so much research on true crime and listening to so many different podcasts just to like immerse myself in it a little bit to just really get a good understanding of like the psychology around it, because it's just interesting as fuck.
hmm
But people are fucking monsters. And I don't think
They
like
are.
you understand how much shit really happens and how much has happened. And
hmm
it's intense because you start thinking, oh well, like demons, this and that. No, like a fucking person's soul, like I guess you could say, or spirit or entity that has passed on, that is still here. You probably don't realize like a Richard Ramirez type, or fucking
right.
like, you know, like a Ted Bundy type, or like
hmm
anybody that was like a fucking disgusting human being. Like, well, what are they capable of in death then? Like, where is the line drawn now that their body is incorporeal? And you know, like,
Exactly.
well, I don't know what the capabilities are, because I don't know. Nobody gave me a cheat sheet yet.
Right. And like supposedly, what haunts the Villisca house is the killer spirit, the guy who committed the acts. So somebody that can take an axe and bash in the heads of 6 children and 2
Blunt-ended.
adults,
Fucking gross.
Blunt-ended too.
the blunt end, yeah, that's I can't imagine anything more evil. You know,
Yeah, and like your brain snaps. Like that's the only thing I can think of is like there's the wires in your head. Like if I could give it like the best like movie reference I could, and they just snap. And like some of the accounts or like videos and things that you see of people that just are non-remorseful. Like
Mhm.
Lori Vallow is a good one that she just got fucking tried for the murder of her children and shit after that whole cult debacle and her ex-husband and shit. And literally seen in court when she was read her rights and like murder first account, you know, guilty. Stone face, stoic as fuck, like whatever.
Yeah, and it's only getting worse too with all the
Oh
mass
yeah.
shootings and shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
dude, it's getting scary. Like, evil is just
Mhm.
like spreading, truly. You
Yep.
know,
It is.
and I don't know if it has something to do with the devil or what, but uh, it's spreading.
But then you like flip it too, like to the side of like the paranormal aspect of all of it. It's like, what are we gonna see the next wave of like is the energy that's going to be put forth is going to be like that dark seated energy that like say like generations from now, like
hmm
how we see the echoes of the past, and it's like the Wild West times, like,
Yeah.
or you know, like 9/11, like you probably like go to ground zero and you'll hear the voices and stuff like that. It's like, well, you're hearing the echoes of the past from these events.
hmm
Well, a lot of the events that I'm seeing on the news, unfortunately, are fucking mass shootings and people dying, and it's fucking crazy.
And people just it's growing so fast. People
Mhm.
just keep doing it.
The most alarming rate.
Yeah, it is really scary.
And you mentioned Ground Zero. I went there.
Did you really?
Went there about
Ooh.
5 years ago. I went to the
Yeah.
very top of One World Trade Center.
Mm,
I have never felt energy like that in my life. It is
really?
so intense.
Yeah.
'Cause,
I
like-
mean, I could only imagine.
It's definitely all still there. All that energy from that day is there, 100%.
100%.
I mean, and look at all
scarred all
look at all
every
the
single one
people
of us.
packed on top of each other around there too. Like it's in the middle of the city basically, and there's
Mhm.
just like it's you have batteries. I hate to use people as like a reference as batteries, but like that's what we are, like giant like conduits basically. If you ask me,
Yeah.
like we're walking around just producing energy ourselves to make ourselves go.
Right.
Like that, as far as I know, we're the only, like, you know, like the living, breathing species all over the earth, like everything that's alive. Like, yeah, we are like combustion engines that are like making our own energy, but we can't find the thing to make, you know, like never ending energy yet. It's like, well, I don't
Exactly,
know.
yeah.
Maybe look into like biological.
Yeah, no, that is a very good point. We are like giant batteries, just
Yeah, it's
producing energy
never
all the
ending.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Even when you sleep, you're doing it.
yeah. What do
Always
you guys
impressive.
think about dreams?
I put a
Dreams
lot
are
of stock in
interesting.
it because there's limitations for sure.
But I think there's a lot of answers that we can find about ourselves in our own dreams and like
Absolutely.
looking into them. Like I think when we're sleeping, we might cross the veil a little bit, like spiritually, and not even realize it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that's why, like, when we get up and have these weird, vivid dreams, it's because like we got caught in the curtain or something. You know?
Yeah, that's why I believe in spiritual projection and, you know, like astral projection and all that stuff. Or like when you have lucid dreams, like the deja vu feeling if you wake up after a lucid dream and then you are basically reliving that same groundhog moment. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like there is a reason that you saw that. Like there was a
exactly.
reason you were being prepared for that. And I don't know what it's for. I don't know how it comes about, but like I do put stock in that.
It's exactly. I had a best friend who passed away in 2020,
Mhm.
like suddenly and tragically.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
And like 2 or 3 days after he died,
Yeah.
he came to me in a dream, and it was like it wasn't a dream. It was vivid.
Real.
It was
Or that you
real.
guys were meeting on that plane of existence.
Yeah, and he was talking to me, and he was like, he was like, I know you want me to stay here longer, but I have more people to go see. I have to go.
Mhm.
It's. And then I was like, well, answer me one question. I was like, what's it like to die? And the way he described it to me in my dream, it's so weird.
Yeah.
He said it's like, imagine. So in my town, there's 2 separate towns. One's called Ridge, which is like middle of nowhere, and then one's called Leonardtown.
Yeah.
He was like, imagine you're driving on Ridge or in Ridge, about to turn onto a road. And when you turn onto that road, boom, you're in Leonardtown. That's what dying is like.
Oh shit.
So does that make sense? It's like the flip.
Yeah.
He said it's like the flip of a switch. That's
Yeah.
what it's like.
I would attest it to like passing out, where it's
Yeah.
like you could be like standing there for a minute, everything is fine, the tunnel
Goes
starts
fuzzy.
coming, and then bang, blackness, and you wake up and you're 10 feet across the room laying on a couch like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like this
Yeah.
this is like the moment where I just lost time. I don't know what's going on anymore. Or blacking out on a drunken night. You just
Yeah,
wake up on your
exactly.
friend's floor
Wake
and
up
you go,
like,
why am
what
I
the hell?
bleeding?
How did I get here?
Me and Riley have a terrible story of me getting into a fight with him on my birthday. Fucking
Oh, man.
blackout drunk. I woke up, puked all over myself the night before. It was all like scraped from my face to my fucking knees.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, I'm laying on his bathroom floor and I'm like, hey guys, what's up? I don't feel good. why do I look like this?
I've been there. I'll tell you that.
Oh, it was bad.
Probably all have.
It was fucking bad.
But yeah, that's how he described dying.
See,
So-
and that makes so much sense to me though. Like
Yeah.
if I could
it would have to be
logically,
quick.
yeah, if I could give it a logical explanation to like how I would think dying would be, like it would literally be like a teleport. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you hit the wall and then you teleported somewhere. Like you're respawning at the checkpoint that's actually way the fuck over there.
Right. Exactly, dude. That's
I'm
how he
playing way
described
too
it.
much Elden Ring.
So dreams are really interesting, like paranormal wise too. Have you ever
Mhm.
had what is it? God,
I
Sleep
would say
paralysis.
like
sleep paralysis. Thank
I
you.
have,
or like
yes.
even like I had a dream where my dream was we were at a location that we had just investigated. We were in the car coming home, and like I was like reliving the exact moment and then I got rushed by a spirit when I turned a corner to a room. And it's like, okay, is that like the omen type bullshit? Like, or am I like reliving something that I just didn't see, but like my brain took that
Ooh.
snapshot
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
like showing me like what
Dude,
really
that's
fucking
pretty
happened.
fucking crazy thought right
That is.
there.
That is.
I've been thinking about
That's
that a lot
a crazy
lately.
fucking thought right there.
You know what I mean?
bro.
Because like, what if your brain in the moment cannot handle it? So like
Yeah.
it
tells
records
you
it,
later.
because like that's what your brain is doing right now. Like we're recording everything. Like we're giant fucking recorders,
Right.
as well as combustion engines.
Now that's a crazy thought. I've never even thought about that.
I need to start writing books.
Yeah, dude, for real.
We got audiobooks.
We have
Yeah.
audiobooks and
But yeah, I
audio.
have had sleep paralysis quite a few times.
What happens when like is it like a recurring sleep paralysis dream, or is it always different?
It's always different. I
Really?
mean, the first time I really noticed it, this is gonna sound really weird, but so it's like, like when you're in between sleep, that feeling when you're like about to fall asleep, but like
Yeah,
you're
you're
still
like
kind of awake.
right fucking there.
Yeah. So I was like that, but I was waking up, and I heard a woman whisper into my ear, and it sounded like she was speaking tongues, and that woke me up. Yeah. And when I woke up, I couldn't move anything for like 5 minutes. I was trying so hard, like lift my arms and just move my legs, anything, but I couldn't move at all.
That's so crazy. What I
And-
always hate too is when your hands turn into pillows when you try to fight people in your dreams.
That's the worst. But also another time that I had it, my ex-girlfriend, her ex used to do satanic stuff
Oh,
in
Jesus.
their house, and I was there one day. While I was with her, they were already broken up, but I was laying on my stomach. She was at work, and I heard something in the corner of the room. So I tried to get up and see what it was, but I couldn't move. I couldn't get up to look, and it felt like a hand was on my back holding me down.
Oh, shit.
It felt so real. I don't know what it was, but there was some bad energy in that house.
Those are some of the most
That is
terrifying
scary.
fucking moments.
Like-
Because like I wonder too, like how do spirits or entities like that react? Like not react. How do they interact with you?
What are they? Yeah, what are they doing to
Like how?
completely immobilize you?
I know. You see that like goes back into the demon category. So like what kind of spirit can do that? You know what I mean?
Or is it like the energy that it's putting forth and like it's almost like getting fucking tased, but it's not painful tasing.
Yeah.
It's just like you're stuck, bitch.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's so hard.
The first ghost I ever saw was Hat Man. You ever heard of Hat Man?
Hat Man.
I saw Hat Man.
You're not
He's
the
been-
first
he's
person
been
to tell
getting
us.
brought up
Yeah.
more and more lately
I
around
think,
us,
like,
and I
3
think he's
times
coming
now.
for us, bro. Because I
Yeah.
know
3 times
nothing.
now.
And all of a sudden, everyone started talking about Hat Man. I even had a girl at work that the first day I was training her,
Oh, that's a
and
bad
she
omen.
told me that she had seen a spirit with a hat, and a bunch of people in her family have seen it. And I was like, okay, someone
Yep.
just mentioned this for the first time.
Okay, but
ever
realistically, all
the
3 of
other
us are
day.
wearing hats, so like the likelihood of like just like a spirit wearing a hat is probably pretty high.
No, but it's like a fedora, like a top hat kind of thing.
Yeah, where
And
it's
he's wearing a trench coat. I saw him. I was in bed with my mom. Woke
Oh,
up in the
no.
middle of the night, and I was like 5 or 6 years old, and looked to the end of the bed and saw this tall man with a
no face either, just like
just pitch black, all pitch black, just standing at the foot of the
Okay.
bed watching me. And I stared at him. And my first thought, like as a kid, I'm like, is this my dad? What's my dad doing here? Because my parents were split up at the time. I was like,
quit
why's my
fucking
dad
me,
here?
pops.
Yeah. And I shit you not. He put his arms out to his side like this, like a
Oh,
Jesus
shit.
pose, and then fell onto the bed. But like
Oh
imagine
shit.
if like his feet never left the ground, like his feet were stuck on the
Ooh.
ground, but he like came forward like that. And
yeah,
then
where it's like this is a Halloween fucking trick. Like what the fuck?
And then I flinched and he was gone. And I haven't seen him since, but my mom saw him in the same room of the same week.
That's fucking wild.
And then I just found out a couple weeks ago, my little sister told me that a few years ago in my house back in Maryland. She's like, I saw a ghost in our grandma's house one day, and I was like, what did it look
What
like?
it look like?
He said, well, it was in your room, talking to me. She's like, it was in your room, and it was tall, and it was wearing a top hat. I'm like, come on,
Like,
are you serious?
motherfucker.
I was like, oh no.
So would you say, like, when you say you've been followed by spirits, like what do you do to like make them not like, or to like go away or shit? Or do you just like, don't bother me, boo-hoo?
That's usually what I do. I'm like,
Yeah, just
not,
like,
I'm like,
fuck off.
not right now. Fuck off. I don't want to talk to you right now. Like, they'll try to get my
See,
attention, and
like, we always,
it's always
like,
when I'm trying to sleep.
I know, like, I'm always like, witchcraft is cool, and like, you know, like stones and stuff is cool, but I have such a hard time believing it
Witchcraft's
sometimes.
cool, bro.
But like,
Everyone's
fuck,
doing
It's
it.
so
man.
cool, bro.
but like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, how is burning sage gonna make a ghost go away?
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in all that stuff. I
I
mean, I've
want
tried
to
it. I've
so
tried it.
bad.
Didn't work. So
See, and like, it worked in my house, but like, I was like, I don't know how much stock I put in this now. Like, fuck.
yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna do it every time something happens at your
Yeah,
house.
exactly. Like, instead of just like, hey, don't follow me. Like, I'm going now.
yeah.
Bye.
And I don't know if that works either. Telling them not to follow you. I'm not.
It does not. There's no fucking proof that it does. It's just fun to say it, I guess.
Yeah,
There's-
I
It's a
guess.
good way to end.
Is
your
there
day.
really any proof that if you have a priest come to your house, like it cleanses
Yeah, dude.
the property?
The Catholic Church is a mind fuck in its own right. Because if you look back at like the history of like the Vatican and things like that, how just mysterious and fucking like
Yeah,
just wild it is, and how like the like whole like exorcism thing is just like, oh man, like this is is this a cult?
Right.
Like I don't want to bash religion at all, because like I do believe that everybody's faith is totally fine and everybody should believe what they want, but fuck, their track record's not great. Like,
No, how many
It's
wars
really
have been
not.
fought over religion?
fuck, it's bad.
yeah.
It's real bad.
Like, you've heard of Hinsdale House?
I've
Of
heard of
course,
it, yeah.
yeah.
I haven't got a
Pretty
chance
much
to go.
everyone that has been on the show
Has
has been
been
there.
It's awesome. It's awesome. But in the 70s, they had a priest come there and exorcise the house,
Mm.
and it only made things worse.
Yeah. Like, what are you supposed to tell me? Like, reading scriptures from the Bible and telling it to leave is gonna make it leave. I'm sorry.
It's gonna piss
demons
it
are
off is what it's
real,
gonna
it's
do.
just gonna make it mad.
Yeah, if it's really an evil entity that's like, nah, bitch, like I'm already fucking here. Like,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to force me out. Like,
This is my
and,
toilet.
like, legitimately forcefully. Like, there's nothing you can say or like it's gonna invoke me to leave.
if it
I
wants to
don't know.
go, it's gonna go. If it wants to stay, it's gonna stay.
Yeah, that's why I just and the whole like idea too of spirits like being like a never ending like they're like, well, what too if like they're imprinted in multiple places, because that's just where energy imprints. So like, yeah, like Johnny Applebottom is here, but also I heard Johnny Applebottom over there. It's like, yeah, because
Yeah.
he's fucking lived his whole life like going these fucking 10 places.
Yeah, I
don't know.
mean, El Capone haunts so many different places.
Oh,
yeah.
For instance.
So like, is he a transient ghost, or is it legitimately like homeboy is just like chilling somewhere like with his whole mafia boss like crew, and he's just like sipping on some fucking Muay Thai or something, like enjoying
think-
life, and then he's like all of his other bosses are
And then-
like, come
and
to
then
me
he
and pay
just-
my dolls with.
And then he all of a sudden he wakes up and he's in his prison cell. He's like, fuck,
I
Yeah,
don't want to be
gotta
here.
escape from here. And
I
then-
think maybe like depending on how powerful of a spirit they are, they could like break off and go different areas.
Yeah, like multi shadow clone jutsu, like
Because
fuck.
like how else would you describe me and Zach having the same attachment?
yeah, exactly.
Right,
Like
right.
You know?
then it
Right.
makes you wonder, like, well, okay, like,
And
is
you're
it a
probably
gimmick?
not the only ones that have
Oh,
this
yeah.
attachment.
Oh yeah,
probably
I'm
tons of
sure I'm
people.
not. I'm sure I'm not. But Johnny, the guy who runs Villisca, he says that the house does choose people, and it will attach itself to you. And
It's like, your beard is nice. You're funny. Like,
Now, do you think like, see, I've always kind of had like the superstition, I guess you'd say that like talking about this attachment makes it stronger.
Mhm.
and puts it on notice.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at like mass media and Slender Man and shit. Like, it gained
Yeah.
popularity, and then like little girls are murdering other little girls because of it.
Exactly, dude.
And it's like, okay, well, you also are like talking about this entity at the Villisca Axe house. Like, well, what if like tonight it's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm swole as fuck, bitch."
Yeah.
Like, everybody wants to know about me today.
Well, to follow that up, so me and Zach had planned together to go back to Villisca together in November of 2022. During that month is when I went to Monroe, and it showed itself to me. Also during that month is when it showed itself to Zach after we had planned to go back. So it's like talking about it, like it knew that we were going to come back together, so it was making itself known to us.
It played peekaboo. It's
Yeah.
like, hi.
But no, that spirit, like part of the reason it's so scary to me is because it knows you. It knows everything about you the minute you walk in that door. And I don't know how that's possible. It can like see into you. Like we were in the attic, and this is when we're trying to get the name of the killer. And we're doing a spirit box session. This was the first time I went. This was back in 2021. And I was like, why don't you tell us your name? And the guy I was with, he was like, he's not going to tell you his name. And I'm like, I know, because he's a coward. Immediately after I said that, the name that came through on the spirit box was the name of my dead best friend.
Oh shit.
Like in a smart ass tone.
That's heavy as fuck.
Oh
And
my God.
I heard it. I was like, oh God, okay. I turned off the
Like,
spirit box.
don't go there.
I turned off the spirit box. And I was like, okay, I see what people
Fresh
are talking
air.
about now.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And that's one of the rules when you go there. It's like take breaks. You need to take breaks.
I guess like my theory on that would be like, well, what if whenever your spirit leaves your body, like like they say deities and gods are omniscient, omnipotent. I think that's how it works. You know what I mean? Like all knowing, all being everywhere at once.
Yeah.
So who is to say that once you've transcended out of your body that your energy isn't omnipotent and it's everywhere at once?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
I
you
mean,
can manipulate whatever you want, whenever you want. And I mean, I don't know if it's like a pick and choose kind of bullshit, but that would make sense to me as well, rather than it's just like imprints here and there and you're just randomly seeing the stuff. So like that's where the intelligence comes from, where it's like, well, this person had so much energy stored up because they were such a fucking firecracker in life
right.
that yeah, they're gonna do some damage here at the afterlife.
Yeah, and that would kind of explain why certain spirits are more powerful than others, you know.
Yeah, too. And look at stars too is probably the best example I could use. Is like we see a star that's in the sky. What's there really isn't fucking there anymore, but we still see it.
Yeah.
And it still had a lot of fucking energy and it's blowing up.
That's a good point. I never even thought about that.
No, so it's like, I mean, like, let's just like put that,
That-
like
yeah.
scale it down a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scale it down to like the human size element.
Yeah, not like a 1-to-1. We're like a 1 to 10 million.
Right. Yeah, it's all so weird, man. But
It's all
Yeah.
philosophy too, which is like the most fun to talk about, but it's like it's so wonky at the same
Yeah.
time.
Like having all of you guys as guests on the podcast has like really opened our mind to a lot of different like paranormal experiences for one, and two, like what everyone's kind of like theories are of what spirits and energy are. And so far most people have kind of been on the wavelength that it's just like
I think we're
attract-
all experts now because everybody has the same opinion and it's fucking nice. Because it's
Yeah.
like, hey, we all can agree. Like, it's not like the alien community where everybody's like, fuck you, Mufan's better.
right. Shapeshifters and all that, and
Yeah, where it's like the reptiloids and the Cleeclocks are better than your Glipglops. So fuck you. No, I mean, I'm just, it's very fascinating because like what Riley's saying is exactly right, where it's everybody has a difference in opinion and everybody's caught something different too.
Mhm.
So it's
that can validate what
yeah,
why
and
they
it's
think
like
what they're thinking.
every
you know,
claim
like-
that everybody has made or like that we have made as well is like, well, here's some validation, or it's like, oh, here's some clarity where it's like, oh, actually, like I had this side of it where that makes a lot more sense now, or like, oh, like fuck, I didn't even think about that until just now.
right.
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
the photo that we took at mouth of the Reaper
Megatron
shadow
2.
that we call Emily from Blood Moon was not about like apparitions being caught on camera, and then we showed her that she's
just-
like, I don't even
I know.
know how to yeah, I don't know.
It is what it
Oh,
is.
I absolutely believe in spirits can be caught on camera. I have a picture of my grandfather's spirit 10 minutes after he died. Like my mom took a
Oh,
picture.
is that the jacket one that was on
Yeah.
Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that I forgot about that, but yeah, that photo is fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. And
And
you know what? It kind of like blew up on Twitter. I wasn't really expecting it to. And
right.
of
It
course
did,
that,
for sure.
of course that, you know, leaked into all the skeptical people's feed. And they're like, oh, this is bullshit. There's no way that's like, dude, why would I fake my grandfather's photo? You know, like,
Or if I'm misseeing something and like you can actually walk me through what I'm not seeing correct, do it.
yeah.
You know, it's like I'm completely fine with skepticism.
Right,
That's
of
where
course,
I think
yeah.
a lot of people like will be like, well, paranormal investigators don't like skeptics. No, you're wrong. Like I think having a skeptic is probably the best bet if you're gonna go investigate, because then somebody can be like, hey, from a logical standpoint, like without any bias here, that could definitely just be like outside noise.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's like somebody plowing the parking lot right now. It's like,
As an
oh, they didn't
investigator,
keep
you
up.
have to be grounded in skepticism,
Yeah.
you know. And
Otherwise, you're just gonna be like, "Ooh, I got
Yeah.
the best evidence," and it's literally like a dog barking in the background.
or a
And
fucking
you're like, yeah.
or a fucking piece of dust going down. It's like, oh my god, I got an orb. You
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah,
happens
how do
way
you
too
feel
often.
about orbs?
Uh,
Those are interesting topics.
It's so
for sure.
hard.
I have caught balls of light on camera.
I think we've caught good evidence of orbs doing some very odd things, but at the same time, like I don't know if I can completely write it off as 100% like realism.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really careful,
Mhm.
when you
That's
try
where
to,
you will make yourself look like a pariah.
oh yeah. But I mean, I have seen really crazy pictures of orbs. My great aunt used to live in this haunted house.
Mhm.
I remember when I was a kid, she took a picture like in her basement,
Yeah.
and there was an orb there. And when she zoomed in on the orb on her computer, there was a perfect smiley face.
That's so weird, but that's
Yeah.
cool as fuck.
There was a face in the orb, and
Yeah, and you tell me that's lens flare and that's a coincidence? I don't
yeah.
see that.
I do think most of the time it's dust, but I do think there is some occasions where it is, you know, balls of light, energy, whatever it is. I
The
still don't
camera
even know.
picking up like whatever frequency that we're not seeing. Like
Right.
I don't know how exactly it works. I guess like infrared or
Right.
like red lights
Hey,
would be
I
a
mean,
good idea.
if you have, like we always say, if you have, we like to have like 3 things that line up. So if you catch an orb and like the REM pod and the EMF detector go off at the same time, or like maybe a voice comes through, it's like, okay, leaning a little more towards orb on this now than I am
Right.
just
I would
because
agree
of
with
what's
that.
happening
Right.
around it.
I need more than just the confirmation of I saw this on a little screen. That I to this day still, I don't put a lot of stock in the stuff that I see happen right on my phone or right on the recorders. You know, like until I can actually analyze it and like break it down, I'm
Yeah.
like, that was cool. But at the same time, like I'm looking at a fucking 2x2 screen. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like that
exactly.
is not, it's not like putting it on a computer screen and blowing it up. Like when I found the pictures, like Riley was saying, or when Jenna found it, we had that bitch on a big screen and we were like, what?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense now. Like I can clearly see, you know, like where it's transparent here, where, you know, like the darker shape is, you know, or like here's hands and shit. So
Mhm.
I completely think that spirits do manipulate electronics here and there. Or like when you get distortions in like certain photos, like even if it's not like shapes and bullshit, but you'll see like the wave or something in there where it's like, why? That doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've caught some really weird things on camera as well, like these little like I don't know what they are, but they're little like anomalies, and that little weird shapes, but they like float kind
Yeah.
of like feathers, like around.
Yeah, like
it's
almost swoops in it too, right?
Yeah, we've caught
Yeah.
those too. I know exactly.
but
what you're
they're
talking
not
about.
like circles. They're just like little weird like little shapes, and they just kind of like flutter around. It's like, what the fuck was that?
It's
You know,
almost like somebody took like a glow stick and they were just like, woof, 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 woof.
yeah, kind of, or just like a feather floating down from the sky or something. You know, it's I don't know. But then they go back up, so you like it's not a feather.
Yeah, wait, no, that's what gravity goes that way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly.
There's just so many times that I've been able to like debunk certain things, especially like when you're outside investigating. If I see an orb, 9 times out of 10, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. That's probably a bug. Like,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't look like a bug, if you're outside and you're in the woods or anything like that, or you're in a very heavily populated buggy area, I just don't want to start saying like this is hard evidence, because then I'll be like, nah, dude, like the good stuff's coming. Like this is just like probably maybe filler, like
Yeah.
at best.
Yeah. I mean, outside, I don't really count that stuff. I mean,
I think
There's been-
investigating outside is one of the hardest things to do.
There's so many different elements.
I don't like investigating outside. I went to
Cemeteries are definitely fun, but
Oh, yeah,
I
cemeteries,
think
yeah.
like for us, definitely like where we got our start was basically doing those. Where it's like now when we go inside, it's like, oh, we can easily knock out an investigation, like where we don't have any problems. But when you give us like free range of a full cemetery, and all of us are like, well, you know, like I want to catch something, but like at the same time, it's like I have no way of knowing where the fuck those sounds are coming from, or seeing where any of this stuff is coming from, or like
Right.
isolating any of it, because
Right.
I'm in a literal 360 fucking degree fucking open field.
Like that could have been anything. That could have been
Yeah.
a fucking bird, you know, that could have been a
It could have been a car that's 2 miles away that hit their brakes too hard.
right.
You know,
yeah.
it's stuff like that where it's like I do think you will catch evidence out there, like especially when you get like EVP evidence that is like spiritual voices or things like that, or your like magnetic field stuff is all going crazy, or any REM pod stuff is like that. Yeah, that stuff is really hard to explain when you're in a dirt field.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like
true.
that's where I'm like, okay, like that's really fucking legitimate evidence, but it's really hard to catch anything else in a field.
Yeah.
I'll just say that much.
Maybe like, you know, EVPs.
Yeah.
Maybe some music box activity or something.
Yeah.
But I definitely prefer like asylums or compact little haunted houses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like I would much rather go to like historic locations that are still pretty true to form and like straight out of a history book. Which, yeah, a cemetery is great, and I love doing cemeteries. I'm not knocking it by any means, but you just can't beat being able to walk into like a building that is like, wow, I'm walking into a jail from the 1960s. Like this is
Right.
insane.
Right.
And it's still like everybody is like could literally just like get locked up today and it would look the same as it did last.
If you want a
day.
good spot to go, add this to your list. Old Lincoln County Jail. It's probably they just go by Lincoln County Jail now, but it used to be called Old Lincoln County Jail.
Lincoln.
The people,
Like,
yeah,
Lincoln.
Licking
Licking. Oh,
County
that's
Jail.
licking.
isn't that
In
right
Ohio.
across the street? Oh, it's in Ohio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I'm
in
thinking
Licking,
of a different
Newark,
jail.
Ohio,
It's
right?
in Newark.
Newark,
Newark.
Ohio.
Okay.
But
I
yeah,
hate
that
Ohio.
place was awesome. The owners were really cool.
No one likes Ohio,
No,
but they have a
yeah.
lot of ghost stuff. So
Yeah,
they
they
got
were-
that going. For
They were
them.
like they were doing a very good job of keeping everything like very healthy and renovated, and like
It's
they
haunted
were
as fuck.
super awesome. Yeah, and it was pretty fucking heavy in there.
You guys should go to Crescent. Have you heard of Crescent?
Mm-mm.
No,
Oh my
I
God,
don't
it's
think
in-
so.
it's-
probably, but
It's in Pennsylvania. 22 buildings, giant, massive.
Shit.
It was at first it was a sanatorium for tuberculosis.
Oh
and
yeah.
then it was a mental asylum, and then it turned into a prison.
So we hit every major fucking terrible
Terrible
time in life.
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
terrible thing that could happen to people in those time periods, it was.
Yep, and it closed in like 2013. So like all the buildings are
Damn.
still like new looking.
Oh
prisons.
wow. 2013?
Yeah,
That is a long fucking run.
yeah, and
That's
it's
insane.
haunted as fuck.
And you know that like if it ended 10 years ago, it's like the buildings are probably still in pretty decent shape.
They are, yeah. Because I mean, there is some old ones that was part of the asylum and the sanatorium.
Yeah,
but-
that they probably just let to the nature have it.
Yeah, but like the newer ones, like the jail cell blocks for like
Mhm.
general population, they were built in the 80s, so they're all still perfect condition.
Yeah, so it's like it's not
Yeah,
chipping off too hard in there yet.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
cool. I know I want to go to like Trans-Allegheny. Like
Oh,
that
me
that
too.
was
What's
big.
What's your dream location? You can go anywhere in the world and spend a week there with every piece of equipment
Oh
you could
yeah.
ever
That's a good one.
ever
So
want.
my number one is always going to be the Amityville Horror House.
Ooh, that's
I
a good one.
really I want to go there so bad, but you know the people that own it, they don't like the ghost stuff.
I've heard that it's not real.
I've
But
heard
like
that too. That's why I
it's
want to go
hard
there
to
so
say,
bad.
yeah.
You know, I mean, we know what like that crime did happen there.
Right? It's
Like
just wild because like some of the families will say like they had things happen, but
Mhm.
then other families will say that they didn't. But one's trying to make money off of a movie, which then it adds to the fuel of the fire for the other side. But
Yeah.
then what if they're actually trying to depict what really fucking happened? You know, like so it's wild.
Oh, and
But-
like just the whole like, are the paranormal people just trying to make money to get people to come there?
Which does happen, which is
does
fucked
happen.
up.
It absolutely
all the
does.
time.
It absolutely does happen. But I mean, like that house, pretty much the same thing happened there that happened in Villisca. An
Yep.
entire family murdered in their sleep, and they both had those iconic windows, the little horn windows. You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah.
like half moon. Both
Mhm.
houses have those windows.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
interesting.
Were
Yeah.
they marked? Was it like a marking like they were previously not previously like man.
They look like they remind me of devil horns.
I was gonna say like all right, we're gonna get really deep into conspiracy theories here. Like their families were actually targeted by like a very, very deep, dark cult. And that actually is like in tune with the spiritual side of things, and like the spiritual side of things is running like the government. Yeah.
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 That's a reach, I think. That's a reach.
You think? I don't know.
Hey,
I
you
don't
never
really
know.
Get it.
You never know.
I mean, it's like a sloth, man. Like you gotta be hanging on a tree, and like you
That's
gotta.
like-
If you reach for your arm, you'll fall.
That's
and
like
you're never
Ebron in
reaching
the
for the
first
future.
round
You'll never
reach.
try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You gotta live slow and die whenever.
Yeah. But like, you know, if a spirit like that's in Villisca can be
Right.
there after that event happened, why not Amityville?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't tell me that if there is a murder that is anywhere on par with that fucked up bullshit that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would think that there would be something that you would potentially see or hear.
You would think so, and that's what the guy was saying happened. You know, he said, you know,
Mhm.
spirits took over his mind, which is the same thing that there was a guy that committed or
How much stock do you put in that though? Like, do you think possession really is like a thing?
I
Or do
think
you-
mental manipulation is a thing.
Yeah, I do think people definitely can be easily manipulated, but I always, whenever I see that bullshit on Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters and shit, where
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like,
possession.
I'm being taken over. It's like, okay, like, cool
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
But like, stop, please.
But I have experienced like mental manipulation myself in Villisca.
Yeah, where it's like your mood changes, where it's like you can physically feel it, where like you're sad or you're upset
Mhm.
in like ways like that, but you're not
Yeah.
lashing out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also this is an actual thing that happened in Villisca. This guy went back there by himself to
Oh,
give the
shit.
house a piece of his mind,
Wha-
and he went into the downstairs bedroom where the two overnight girls were killed,
yeah.
and he was sitting on the bed and started taunting the spirit, like, "How could you do this? You're evil. You're nothing. You're just, you know, calling it out pretty much."
Yeah.
And the way he describes it is he looked to the left into the closet and saw a white light come out of the closet. And then after that, he blacked out, woke up in the hospital.
Oh shit.
He had stabbed himself in the chest with a hunting knife and died twice on the way to the hospital. Oh, he survived, but he died twice.
That's fucking weird.
That's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
So like, is that manipulation though, or is that like a spirit legitimately just stabbing somebody?
Well, he blacked out and he stabbed himself. So I don't.
You know what I mean? Like, there's the question there too. Is like, if we've seen the accounts of spirits manipulating objects and people, like
Mhm.
touching people at least, like if they're able to physically touch things like that, well then let's say they're not capable of stabbing you, or like
Right.
legitimately committing a homicide.
Yeah.
But you know, like, and then like the same thing is like, well, you're being possessed, and he blacked out.
But are you really being possessed?
That's the thing.
Or are you
Yeah.
being influenced.
I don't know. I mean, it was only
Or
him
they're
there,
all the
so
same
there was
thing.
nobody witnessed it. That's just how
That
he.
yeah, that's so fucking tough. Or is the guy so scared in that moment that like he mentally breaks and he tries to commit suicide or something like that? I don't know. Like, see, you know, like there's so many avenues that you could take. Like I could sit here for like an hour, like saying
Yeah.
many possibilities, but
But see, here's the thing. He never talked about it for like 7 years.
would you though? Like if this happened to you, like I think it would be pretty
Probably be
fucking
hard to
substantially
talk
fucking
about.
scary.
You probably
Yeah.
just the more you play it in your head, the more you're gonna be like, I'm gonna sound fucking crazy.
Mhm.
I lock up, like I won't lie, like on investigations, like I will legitimately turn into a little bitch because I'll be like,
Yeah.
I'm so fucking terrified right now. I don't know what to say. Where it's like, damn, like I thought I was gonna be okay, but like the moment came down to it, and I froze like a goddamn pole.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like you mentally like you want to make that connection.
Yeah, you're like,
but,
I'm fortified as
once
fuck.
it gets to
Not.
like making that connection with the spirits and allowing them to use you as a communication device,
You got to be
you're
in that
like-
right mindset.
you're like, I don't know if like I'm ready for this because spirits
It's-
will manipulate you and make you feel things that aren't your own feelings.
Yeah. It's very. I mean, that whole situation is very fucking weird to me. I mean,
Right.
But I believe it was the spirit that somehow did it to him, because I mean, how would it know who my dead best friend is when I never mentioned him in that
Exactly.
house? That alone tells you how powerful it is.
Yeah,
And
like how
True.
would it get the information unless it pulled it out of your brain, or it literally has like an encyclopedia to whatever happened everywhere at once. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. Like see, you're right. Like that's power. Like that's holding a power over
Or-
somebody for sure.
Or he got into an altercation with your friend's spirit because he was trying to protect you.
Maybe.
That's also very interesting too.
Oh, I forgot to add. That night that it happened, it was a year to the day he died.
Oh shit.
That's
That's
That
even more.
cuts.
That adds like another layer of like, damn, like it's
So
not
I mean,
just a
it was
coincidence.
on my mind a lot that day.
Yeah, like that's not just a coincidence at that point. I do actually
Really?
believe that you were giving off like the energy, and like we've said it multiple times on multiple live streams now that like the energy that we give off, we can probably like synchronize with spirits and things like that. So if we're all creating the energy we are, and our molecules and our atoms and everything are shaking it all at once and doing what they're doing, well, who's to say that spirits don't have a frequency that they're running off of too, and it's just on a different frequency than we see?
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
Zach explained that best on when he
Yeah,
was like his
exactly.
thing. I'm sure you know all about the wavelength theory.
Yeah, and it's like, well, what happens like when we're like putting ourselves in, like if we're like a spirit tuner and we're just tuning it ever so finely until we hit that right wave, and we all see in our third eye,
Yeah.
and then we
I don't-
start
Our
burning
chakras
sage.
are aligned.
I was just kidding.
A burning sage.
Do you
Yeah.
guys get your crystals?
Do what?
I said, do you guys get your crystals?
Oh, I got mine.
Hell yeah. Crystals definitely do something. As funny as it is to make fun of all of it and be as lighthearted as it is, I do think that there are certain things like crystals or like certain
They just hold
ways that
energy.
certain things that are like materials that will hold energy better than other things. Like
Oh,
it is said like limestone is one that will like imprint energy better just because it's some type of has to do with something or other. I don't even know. But then you look at Pompeii as well. All the volcanic ash that entombed everything around there, basically. You're telling me that that isn't just like a supercharged fucking craziness, full hotbed of just emotions just flooding around?
Mhm. Yeah.
Hiroshima, as fucked up as that was,
Yep.
literally the shadows of people's bodies are
Mhm.
imprinted on the cement.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
Yep. And then you start thinking, well, that's cement that it's imprinted on. Oh, well, that's, like
That's stone.
Like that's
a whole
this,
bunch
that's
of
that.
different
It's a bunch of,
stones.
yeah, exactly. It's a bunch of different things. So it's like, oh, well, You get a crystal, and it's like, well, you hit the right material, and
Yeah.
now you have yourself a power stone. We were literally talking about Power Rangers before this, and how we were like get like 2 rings and like do like the Power Rangers bullshit. So it's like, yeah, my mind's stuck on that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think crystals can. I do think they have some properties to them that can help people out as far as energy goes. Like I wear selenite a lot, and selenite's said to really help improve spirit communication, and I believe it's true. I mean, when I don't wear it, things aren't as active. I mean, they're not like
Totally.
fucking infinity stones or anything, but
No, you haven't literally summoned the fucking great god.
yeah, yeah. But I do think they have properties that can definitely help out when it comes
Right.
to paranormal investigating.
100%.
It's just you got to pick the right ones, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, how long have you been investigating now? Like, I know you said that you've been into the paranormal field and like into paranormal for a long time, but like when was like your first legitimate investigation, and when you were like, I know I'm going to do this for a long while now and enjoy it?
About 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
And that's
But-
when like the hook really sunk in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Once you have, a few of those really profound experiences, it's become so addicting. Like to me there's nothing more exhilarating than talking to a spirit. It's
Yeah.
it's really
It's just
the
like
coolest
getting
thing
the
ever.
glimpse
It
of
is
something
pretty
you can't
cool.
explain, where it's like you don't understand it. And like when I get asked all the time by like friends that aren't nearly as like into this as we are, or I don't see as often, they're like, so like what have you guys been up to, or like investigation wise, or like talked about a podcast? And it's like, it's so hard to explain, where it's just like you have to be there to experience it in the moment, where it's like I asked this question and this shit's like going crazy, because you might just look like a lunatic sitting at a table talking to them about it, but like to
Yeah.
me, I'm like, I don't care, because this is fun and this is exactly like what I'm looking for out of it.
Right.
And it's like the glory would be cool. Like I don't care if we do go down in infamy as being like the best podcast ever and like some of the best evidence ever. Like, I mean, it'd be awesome. No, don't get me wrong. Like if I made millions off this, fuck yeah.
Hell
But
yeah.
it's not what I'm doing it for.
Exactly.
So it's so interesting that people are always like so quick to denounce things, or like they're just like, that's cool. Yeah. It's like, no, I don't think you realize like how wild that was. Like, I really don't.
I think a lot of like why there is so much skepticism that we have to deal with as paranormal investigators is like people wanting to take away our evidence and experience, is because there's so many YouTubers and creators out there too that do this stuff, but also give it like a theatric style.
You don't
And
have a 20
it
season
becomes
long
very
TV
hard
show
to
for nothing.
decipher what's real and fake at that point, because some of these people are very good at editing, like extremely good, and can make things look so real. And like we had Exploring Harley on, and he demonstrated to us that if you take a plasma ball and you touch it and you point at a REM pod, the REM pod will go off.
You can get one of those fucking plasma
like,
balls with fucking batteries.
That's like a
Same with
super
walkie
easy-
talkies.
Yeah, walkie-talkies
walkie-talkies
will
make them go
like
off,
make
and
things go wonky.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, like it's so easy to fake it, and I just wish people wouldn't do that, because it just discredits everything that.
And it sucks
all
because
of
there's
us
so
are
many
doing.
like big YouTubers that do that.
Like,
like
and it's to the point too where they're doing this for a living too. So like if
They need
nothing's
to come
happening,
through.
they need
Mhm.
something to happen so they'll get the views, so that they can make that quick, hover video.
And honestly,
where
like,
it grabs your attention.
I don't want to be like super controversial, but if you're watching that and you're okay with them faking it, and you're not watching that content because you want to see like legitimate evidence or things that are cool, and it's like they're doing a great job editing it, it's really happening. And if they go to a location and nothing happens and they still edit like a funny video and like things are cool, like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'll still enjoy that content just as much as something crazy happening.
Right, exactly.
Like,
It's all
it's
about
just-
honesty, and it's people like
Mhm.
that. The people that fucking fake shit just for views. They're the ones that, because they have the broader audience.
And
You know?
it might not be many. Like honestly, like
It
we
might
don't.
not be
There
many.
there might be a lot
I'm
that
not
we
gonna,
think are
throw
and they
names
aren't.
under the bus or anything.
Yeah,
No,
and
no,
I don't
yeah,
even
we're
think
not
I
doing
know
that.
of
we all
anybody
have
that
the ones that
does.
we think are doing it, right?
Yeah, I
You
don't
know?
even know if I know of many at all. Like maybe one, and that's
I have one that
maybe
comes to my mind, but it might
Yeah.
not be the same for everyone.
right.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's people like that give real paranormal investigators a bad name because people
Mhm.
see that shit and they're like, oh, it's obviously fake. You know,
And then
so that,
immediately all of the stuff that we've ever captured is discredited. Like
Yep.
immediately, like we're already a mark down.
exactly.
I don't like starting off behind the curve immediately.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I think what really plays a big part in it is also just being a genuine person.
Right.
You know, on
Yeah,
camera.
at the end of the day, like I don't care what other people think of me or like what they think of what I caught, like any of that shit. Like if I personally can't explain it and I think it's epic, yeah, it's epic.
To
Yeah,
me, it comes down to just personal experience.
Yep.
What you think it was, and you can just live by that. Just for
I
as long
can't
as
and
you
like
want.
I can't literally like I can't be a judge on anybody's thing that I've just watched online or watched like through like a phone or anything. Like I wasn't there.
yeah,
I can't legitimately say like I had every sense going, you know, like every one of them, smell, touch, like all that bullshit. Like no, I just watched it and heard it. That's it.
yeah.
If I was there, I could give you a better judgment on it. Do I think it's cool as hell? Yeah, like I can't explain what I just saw. But I mean at the same time, that's like if we got to put it on a sliding scale, every time I see a video, 80% real. You know, like
Right.
it's immediately it's 80%. And then we'll figure out where we're going.
All it really comes down to is you got to do this for you.
Right.
You know, make the videos. You know, show your evidence.
Be
But
proud of your work.
right, of course,
Mhm.
but do it for you. You know,
Mhm.
don't do it for anybody else. Don't do it to be a famous ghost
Yeah.
hunter. You know,
The
just
hecklers will never go away. That's
Exactly.
there's
They'll always
always
be
going to
there.
be a heckler. Like that's what I've always learned. My parents just they really bang that home early is you get stupid every color, ethnicity, every age, anywhere you go. It
Yep.
doesn't matter. Like
Exactly.
you're never going to get away from stupid. And it's just like, yep, okay, like racism is now out the window. Like all that bullshit is out the window for me. Like everybody's fucking stupid.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, yeah, you just got to do this stuff for you and try to document real paranormal evidence. And
Mhm.
you know, of course, you want to prove it to people. That's what the videos are for.
Right.
But if you can't force somebody to believe it, so you have to just
No,
do it
yeah.
for you.
It's at that point I feel like I'm Bible thumping.
Yeah,
Where it's
exactly.
like, hail Jesus, like
Yep,
I
like,
love the Lord. Like
Here's
go
what
to-
I got. You can believe it if you want. If not, that's
exactly
totally
like
okay.
take it at any sample size you want. Like if you can't ingest all my videos, like that's fine. Like
Mhm.
take it as you want. Like and if you have good things to say, like please by all means tell me about it. If you see something that I missed
Yeah.
or something that is wrong, please tell
don't
me
forget
about it.
to like
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
subscribe.
But don't be a fucking douche nozzle. Like I don't just go on people's threads and like on anything or comment on anything and just be like,
Can you even dislike stuff on YouTube
I don't
anymore?
even know. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like just
Yeah, you can.
immediately just be like, you're a fucking moron because that's wrong. Where it's like that's not even cool anymore.
Right.
Like
It's
we're
like,
not in
what are
high
we? Are we
school.
still 14?
If I screwed up a fact, just be like, hey, actually, I think this was the right, you know, like use of this, or hey, like
Yeah.
that. And it's like, hey, thanks. You know,
Constructive
like you're not
criticism.
heckling, yeah.
Constructive criticism. That's
Mhm.
you know.
And that's
heckling.
where like the new I can't even fucking stand this. The
Open-headed
new
narrative.
not
That's
even
the
that.
one that gets
I
it
ran into
every
this.
time.
I went to a concert recently for it was Real Friends and Knuckle Puck. And if any of like the emo like sad boy scene, you know, like from like the early like 2000s, like you know, like my
That's
middle
me.
school days. Yep. if you liked any of that shit, like, oh man, the like new generation that was there watching it with the M's on their hands and bullshit. Yeah, I fucking noticed that, you stupid fucking cow. Like decided to like have a problem because one of our drunk friends that was walking through the crowd bumped into one of them one fucking time in a full sold out fucking show and will like turn around after he walked away from us and was like, I don't know if that was your friend, but I don't appreciate him like touching on us. I saw him touching on you guys and that's fine, but like it is not okay for him to touch us.
Well, maybe
And
you
then my
shouldn't go
wife
into a
was like-
crowded crowd, dude.
Yeah, and my wife like my wife was like, first off, I pulled him away from you guys, so you're welcome. And I was like, oh fuck, here we go. And then like they just like stood there, like looked at us all dumbfounded, and I was like, what did you fucking expect? I was like,
Right.
you were literally in a fucking club basically where there's alcohol being sold and there's
Minors,
people
man, that's why-
everywhere.
That's what happens when you go to all age shows.
It just fucking blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, that's what I'm fucking dealing with now.
Man, yeah, I used to fucking go to raves all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and
Same
there's
here.
some clubs in DC that are just very frat boyish.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh God, they're the worst. They'd be, it's all like their first time show, and they're all just going because it's the cool thing to do. And,
Because Delta Kappa Phi.
everybody's got their fucking. Ugh. I don't go to concerts anymore just because
we used to literally frequent the scene, and now it's like once a year.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe.
Yeah,
Honestly, I've been sober for 3 years now, so
awesome.
ever since
We
I
had
like,
more fun now that you've been
stopped
sober.
drinking, I just don't really even go to shows or the bars. Or
Now we
anything.
like remember what we're doing.
Right.
Enjoy shit.
I think the last show I went to was
Oh no.
In Flames,
Oh hell yeah.
In
Sick.
Flames, and Fit for an Autopsy.
That's awesome.
It was sick. It was a good show, and luckily didn't have any run-ins with rude people. Metal shows are always so nice.
I was so happy that like I don't want to say COVID's over because it's not, but like it finally felt like we were getting back on track.
Mhm.
Because usually the shows that I've gone to haven't been busy like that, and it was always like, like it just didn't feel normal like how it used to. And I was like, all right, now it feels like another show at the intersection, which is everybody in Michigan in our area knows about that place. And it's like, sweet, dude, like this is like cool ass show, like this is like a blast from my past. And then I ran into those fucking minors, and I was like, dude, don't fuck up my vibe.
Man, COVID was a weird time. I remember
COVID
Oh
was
my
a weird time
God.
in life.
It
Dude,
was
I
so hard to
literally-
investigate too.
I went to a drive-in rave where like
In
You
your
too.
car rave.
like you sit in the car and watch the stage.
I mean, it's cool. I don't hate it.
It was a weird experience. I mean,
Yeah,
it
like
was,
how
it was
am I
fun.
supposed to like get down and like okay?
You weren't supposed to get out of your car, but everybody did, and kind of just was still out socializing. So it was kind of stupid, but
It was the same exact thing as a fucking concert, but it was like a
can't even
drive-in
imagine
concert.
leaving that place. I bet that was a
oh,
disaster.
it took like 2 hours, and it
Oh.
was in the middle of I think
That's funny.
Baltimore. Yeah, it was
Oh God,
Baltimore.
yeah.
oh
Yeah.
god.
It was terrible.
I couldn't imagine living in a city. Like that's why I'm like, it would be fun as hell to live in like Boston or like someplace where it's just you walk down the street and it's just historical building after
Man,
historical building after historical building.
Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Savannah,
I
Georgia.
didn't even think about that. I heard a lot of
Savannah's
good things
crazy. The
about
whole
that too.
town, every building in that town is haunted.
Mhm.
Dude, it's my favorite city in all of America. I live like 2 hours away from there right now because I live in
Yeah.
Georgia now. And man, I love going there. It's so active all the time. One of the other greatest ghost photos I've ever seen, my friend caught while we were on a ghost tour there. He took a picture of the big cemetery in the middle of town at night, and just a regular picture. And we got back to the hotel that night, and he was looking through his pictures, and he's like, "Ethan, what do you see in this?" Took his phone, zoomed in, and sure enough, clear as day, there is a like 7-foot tall woman
Oh fuck.
with hair, wearing a nightgown and holding a baby by the arm,
She was straight from Amazon.
just staring.
Amazonian.
She was staring right at the camera too,
Really? That's fucking terrifying.
and I still have the photo. I can send it to you later.
Oh hell yeah.
Definitely do that.
But yeah, my mom and I went back to the spot where the ghost was standing in the photo, and the grave that it was standing at is the grave of a 19-year-old girl and her baby.
Oh shit.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Dude, that's fucking cool.
yeah,
I love it when you get like the like clarification on things like that. Especially like you'll see like an apparition or
Mhm.
you'll see some evidence and it's like, okay, like why did I just see that flash?
yeah,
All right, walk over and you like ask somebody, they're like, oh, actually, like somebody exploded in there. You know, like yeah, that's an extreme. Like, I'm like trying to think. Oh, like a
Someone
good one.
ate a stick of dynamite in there.
Shut up. So I'm trying to think, but no, like when we were at the Lincoln, like I had on the headphones and we were doing the Phasma box, and I heard like a foghorn, and I was like, well, that was fucking weird. Like we're in a jail, why am I hearing a foghorn? Well, it turns out there was a water canal that tugboats used to go up and down all the
Oh,
time.
no
back in the
shit.
day. And I was like, see, there you go. Like you're 100% now confirming things that are like there that you're hearing.
Yeah, that's the coolest fucking thing, man.
And I love that shit. And it's like,
or
boom,
like-
it is cool when that happens.
like you
or
get to,
like
like
when-
it's almost like taking like the string on the board where it's like, nah, I'm not fucking crazy.
Yeah,
And just starting to
exactly.
put the pins together.
Or like when, you know, certain rooms are known to like smell like
Mhm.
cigar smoke or like hear whistling, and you
Yeah,
go
and
there
then
and
you
you
get
like hear
that,
whistling, you're like,
free smell.
holy shit, they weren't lying. I
Yep.
just heard a fucking whistle. That's fucking crazy. Oh, man.
100%. I that's the type of like evidence that I will put all my money on usually.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I like the most about investigating is when you get the history behind it too. So like you get the crazy activity, but then it's like also like, oh, you're in the medical ward. So like all that like rattling you heard were pill bottles.
Mhm.
Well, fuck me sideways. Like that's fucking wild.
Yeah, dude. I think like EVPs, like straight up voices talking to you, is probably my favorite form of evidence ever. Remember-
Footsteps too.
I was at a Letchworth Village in New York.
Mm.
It's an old asylum. And I was in the basement of the hospital by myself in a room where they used to store the brains of dead patients.
Fuck. That's
And
crazy.
I was getting no activity. Like I was down there for like 30 minutes by myself in that room. Nothing, not a REM pod beep, nothing.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, all right, well, you know, I'm about to leave. I would really appreciate it if you would give me some sort of
Like anything.
like something that you're here. Nothing happened. I left the room kind of disappointed. Was
Right.
reviewing the footage, and after I asked it to give me
Turns
something,
out.
there was an old woman's voice that goes, Ethan.
Shit.
Yeah. It said
That's
my name.
fucking
It was
crazy.
like Ethan. Oh, dude,
Like, here, boy.
like when I heard it, I threw my head. I was like, oh
I have
fuck
a
no.
I love that feeling though, where it's just like, oh man, like I'm like overwhelmed right now because that was
Exactly, dude.
insane. Because the night that I caught one of the best pictures that I've personally ever caught, it was like a full body apparition. I was like going through my camera roll and I was just like, I'm going to bed. Like, nope.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna send this to Riley and I'm going the fuck to bed and
That
I'm not gonna
definitely
look at it
happens
till
to me
tomorrow.
too. I'll be like going over evidence, you know, after the fact, and it's like 4 a.m. and just like going through photos, and I'm just like, okay, I'm way too deep in this right now. I need to like,
And then you're like
leave
zooming in on random
this.
shit, and you're like, all right, the rabbit hole is now 100% in
oh,
effect.
what's this? That's a leaf. Okay.
Yep. Or like, you know, when you're just reviewing footage and it's nothing's happened for an hour, so you're kind of just like
It's so tedious.
just watching it and like listening, but nothing's happening. All of a sudden you hear something, you're like, oh shit, what was that? Go back. That happened with the Hinsdale House video.
Yeah.
We slept in the living room, which is where the exorcism took place, and we had a crazy night full of activity. And I was talking to the spirit. I was like, please don't bother us. Please just let us sleep.
Fly.
We'll talk, because we stayed there for 2 nights. We're like, please, we'll just talk to you
That's
tomorrow.
fucking awesome.
Don't bother us while we're sleeping. And sure enough, as we're getting ready for bed, I caught a voice on my camera that says, I'm watching you sleep.
That's fucking awesome.
What up, Blood Moon? We've actually
Blood Moon, what
brought
up,
you up
Zach?
a bunch today.
We actually have.
But yeah, I think Zach got a really good EVP at Hinsdale House as well.
That's so fucking cool.
That house is awesome, man.
So
One day we'll make it there.
did you guys rent it like expense wise?
No, it's I think in total for 2 nights, we stayed there for 2 nights in a row, and it was
Yeah.
about $500. I
That's
think the
it?
price has gone up.
Was
now.
it between everybody or was it
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it was just me and one other persons, and we split it, so $250 each.
dude, that's really not bad.
Yeah,
I mean, like, because we want to do another location that's like a good one that's indoors like that. That's, you know, a big getter.
yeah.
But
For us, it's like we got to plan like a whole.
We're
weekend
gonna have to
out.
travel, we're gonna have to rent, and we're gonna have to bring a crew.
Well,
That's
how
the
far?
only part
How far are you
works.
guys? How far are you guys from Iowa?
Like 8 hours.
I was
probably.
gonna say, yeah, like
That's not too bad.
yeah, 8 to
Villisca,
6 probably.
Yeah.
Villisca is only like $428 for a night.
See, I would 100% be okay with doing Villisca, but that is like we gotta travel, boy, and we gotta
Yeah.
bring like at least 3 people with us.
Yeah, we got to bring
Yeah,
as many people
and-
as we can fit.
And you got to be
Big
really
cost,
safe
yeah.
because that place is no joke.
Yeah, because then you start heading home, and then somebody grabs the wheel and fucking jackknifes you off.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I got morbid as fuck real quick.
Hey, you never know.
You never know.
Where you stab yourself 7 times.
Yeah.
Man, that's so fucking crazy that guy literally passed out and had stabbed himself though and died. Like
With a hunting knife.
Jesus
Where'd do they
Christ.
know where was
Yeah,
it his
did he
knife?
have
You
it?
know that?
I
It
was
was
just
his
gonna say,
knife. It was his knife.
So he had it on him already.
God,
Yeah.
that's fucking crazy.
And Johnny even asked him, he was like, dude, why'd you bring a knife? And he was like, well, because, I'm out of town. I don't know anybody in this area.
You gotta stay strapped, bro.
I'm in the middle of
I
nowhere.
feel
Like,
him on that. I feel him on that.
he didn't know the area. He didn't know if someone's going to break in the house while he's here. It was
I
just
mean,
for
that's a good
protection.
point. That's
That
a
is a good
very
point,
good
'cause
point.
You think about that when you go to some of these places for sure. Like,
Mhm.
is
Most I
someone gonna
got the
show up
fucking
and try to hurt
flashlight. I'm
me?
gonna
or,
beat
like-
somebody with.
Dude, we were at fucking Sally House and some dude tried to open the door and come in.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was locked, right?
Yeah, it was locked. It was
Luckily.
just some drunk college kids, but still, like,
It's like Jesus fuck.
like what if that door was unlocked and he'd come in and he had a gun or something, like
He won't go get these boots and these streets. No, I would never fucking just like start beating somebody if they had a gun. That sounds fucking wild.
I know, right?
I would try to de-arm them, then beat them.
Exactly.
God. So
What places do you have coming up that
I was just that. Why do you
don't
read my
give-
mind?
giving away? Because I know some people like to keep that stuff secret.
Yeah, like do you have like a very full schedule that's coming up for you?
Yeah, I got some stuff planned. Possibly Trans-Allegheny. That's bucket list.
Hallelujah.
Really want to go
That's
there.
a good spot.
Me too. I really want to
Um,
go there.
A few places in Texas that I don't want to say
Understand.
yet.
Oh, Texas.
Texas.
Hell yeah.
Everything's bigger there.
Oh
So
yeah.
must be the ghost.
Oh yeah. And a residential back in Maryland.
Mhm.
And what else do I have? I think that's it for right now.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, that's
Still,
it for
that's a good docket though. I mean,
Yeah.
we're like fly by the seat of our pants bullshit.
right now.
Where it's like I think we have this lined up. We're doing this one, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Most
yo,
we
we're
got
fucking
lined
going
up
there.
is every Wednesday for like the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're at least we get our talks until you're done with hokey, which this weekend is.
Could be the last weekend of hockey this weekend.
Yep, I was gonna say is another playoff. Is that home?
Yeah.
I'm gonna come watch. I had to make sure because I was like, "Fuck!" Last one was like in Detroit or Gaylord. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
so we
One
got
of
to
the two.
win these. It's best of 3 now because it's tied at 1.
Nice.
Nice. But yeah, I got I still got like 4 videos that are still due to come out.
Really, dude, editing is the like most.
heel.
Yeah, the most.
It's
I
terrible.
wish I could just hire an AI to do it. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't hire
See,
an
like-
AI. If I could have an
Dude,
AI,
that's
do
probably
it,
on its way, bro.
I
Let's
wouldn't
be
even doubt
honest. Like you just throw in a video and you're
It
just
just-
like, turn this into this for me, and it just fucking
Yeah.
Give it the
creates a
format.
sick video for you.
See, like I would love to have an editor. It's just I love putting my own creativity in my videos too much. It's
I
like
don't have.
that.
I think I have creative touch, and then I try to do it, and I'm like, wow, I fucking suck.
Why does this look like a PowerPoint?
yeah. I don't know. I just want full control of my stuff. So
Right. I mean, we also don't use like the best software.
We just use
either,
CapCut.
so-
That's it.
oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it works, and we
It
do a
gets
good
the job
job.
done.
You guys should use Premiere Pro.
Yeah, as everybody says, like either Adobe Acrobats or
Yeah,
whatever it
that too.
is.
It's good.
Yeah, or that one. Which I mean, it's like yeah, but like learn new software.
Yeah,
Hard.
Yeah.
It took us 3 years to perfect Audacity.
Yeah. Adobe is pretty
There's just so much you can do now because it's like if we would have got on the train when we first started, before all the new features had been rolled out and all the shit you can really do now, it's like, oh, damn. There's literally too much for me to take in right now.
mhm,
Sensory overload.
exactly. I started out on Wondershare Filmora,
Oh yeah, I have that on here. I'm pretty sure.
which
Or I
was
did at one
super
point.
easy to use. And so when I transitioned
Right
from
here.
that to Premiere, it was like, holy shit, dude. This is like a night and day difference. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's like using like your like regular volume mixer and then going to like FL Studio. It's like, fuck!
Exactly, dude. FL Studio. That's like using FL Studio and going to Ableton.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're totally different systems. And it's like, I still don't even know how to use either of them.
Doing the
Fucking
same
thing.
thing, but completely different.
Yep.
We barely just got the fucking mixer board that we use down. It's literally like gain and volume. Like, fuck. I've literally left it on reverb and Bluetooth. So we had Bluey playing one day and fucking Peppa, and then the reverb was going the next. Like, damn. God, I love it.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of like some of the more controversial places? So, like, would you be cool with investigating, say, like a place like Auschwitz? Like knowing the history of that, like, do you think that's like a taboo thing? Because that's like a place that I would like to investigate, but I also know that a lot of people have these varying views on it.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I was going to mention Auschwitz earlier. But yeah, Auschwitz, I would investigate it. I want to.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think you can make a video on that.
Right.
You
I
couldn't.
mean, it's cancel culture for one.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, it's like I could not imagine that you would not catch some of the fucking most wild evidence you will ever
Dude,
catch. Because
I'm sure
it's
that's probably the
history.
most haunted place on earth.
Yeah, it is literally the
probably.
most depraved like history that
Yeah.
has ever happened. If you ask me, like I mean,
It's
I guess
terrible.
like it's the most.
Global shifting.
I guess it's
energy.
probably the best documented post what happened. So, like, I guess like we don't know what happened to the Trail of Tears or like, you know,
Mhm.
like though that type of stuff where it's like prior to being able to document that stuff other than just word of mouth and writings. But
Right.
it's yeah, like Riley said and how you said, like it is 100% like a world changing event. And like that like changed everything and
Like
millions of people died.
there's hundreds of concentration camps, but how many people died at Auschwitz alone? Like 1 or 2
It's like
million?
1.8 million or something. Like I could be lowballing it too. It's fucking stupid. Like it's the amount of gnarliness is insane.
It's hard to grasp. You
Mhm.
know, like that many people can die in such a condensed space in such a short period of time.
And it wasn't like it wasn't a fun place to be. It wasn't like a happy place to be. It was a terrible, dark, heavy place to
Ran
be.
by evil people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like real evil. Like if you want to say demons are real, then that's what a demon
People,
is
yeah,
right
people are monsters, and monsters worked there and did their bidding there. And you're telling me that there isn't some type of imprinted energy, or
Oh, there
Like-
has to be, dude.
there.
I mean,
Has to be. There's no
yeah.
chance that there isn't at least one ghost roaming.
you can literally just look at photos of the place and feel it. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
it's almost like you're like there, but you're not there. I would almost put it like to like if you were to like sleep in one of those racks that they had the people sleep in, like in the bunks and shit. Like your dream, I bet you like are like 100% first person like back in Auschwitz in a day of like concentration shit.
Man, I could
Like
never sleep there.
that's the type of energy that I think would be released there, where it's like,
Especially like in the gas chambers themselves.
yeah,
you know?
or how they have like the piles and piles of shoes, and you know it's just like, oh my god, like that's trigger objects. Like those are it's
Yeah.
all just objects that are just
Or the
going to
firing
resonate.
the firing wall that they have
Mhm.
there, where they would line people up against the wall.
Yep, and then
Shoot
just
'em.
pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, dude, that's see, like
What
I
about-
would.
It's
Huh?
crazy.
Go ahead.
What about investigating places that are like ancient? Like
What about
the
like
Ma-
Mayan
the
civilization
Mayan
stuff? Yeah.
temples and like would that be like something?
I would definitely do that. Hell yeah.
I think that would be
that would be
crazy
dope.
too.
Like Aztec stuff too.
Yeah,
Or
That
the,
would be
the pyramids.
so.
The
I
pyramids.
was actually just gonna say, like, what do you think is underneath the Sphinx and the pyramids? Because apparently there are sealed chambers that are like I guess tunnel systems that we are not going to go into for preservation or some reason or another. But they're just sealed vaults still that we have no
Preservation.
idea what's down there.
Dude,
I'll tell you what's down
think
there.
of- there's this theory out there. Before you say
Aliens.
your theory, that's too, aliens. But there is a theory out there that the Egyptians didn't like go extinct, basically. That they actually
They
dug
perfected
down.
the city of Atlantis down there, basically.
They dug down and created basically, Atlantis.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I don't know how valid
well,
it is,
because
obviously, but
like I guess there's a lot of points to like make where you see the pyramids, how they were built, the construction itself, the intricate tunnels they built throughout it, how the wind will like carry
Remember,
the
there
air
was a
through
whole
all of it,
city.
and the sun will come through all of it with the mirrors and shit. So it's like it's all very, very architecturally well done. So it wouldn't be very, very hard to believe that
Why
they
couldn't
made
they
a
build
very
tunnels?
huge tunnel system.
That would be insane.
I know it's so cool, and I mean, now I want to be an archaeologist, but like, I mean, I miss
And,
my
like,
calling.
There's literally civilizations out there that like built their cities in the side of mountains and shit, and like perfected the
well,
like.
there's even
art
like
of
Mayan
building inside of a
civilizations that were
mountain
found
wall.
like miles and miles, like buried underneath foliage and like land in some like southern country where there shouldn't have been, that are like mimicking other places that are like geographically like non-accessible for the same hieroglyphs to be there. So, and like, because my tattoo artist was telling me this, and it's like they found it while they were digging and it was just buried there, and it's like, well, either like it's sunk into the earth or like it just over time just settled. But regardless, history doesn't lie in that
Right.
regard, where it's like, okay, well, now we have evidence of like, well, these hieroglyphs are like depicting things like helicopters and spaceships and things like that. So now you start being like, well, I sound like an outlandish fucking retard, but at the same time, hear me out. We've probably been visited.
Oh, I'm
Like
sure we
it's
have.
I don't
Dude.
think we haven't.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
Yeah.
We had
I
an
have too.
experience together.
I think we 100% almost had like an abduction experience. Like
Oh,
it
shit.
seems like it.
The one I saw was triangle shaped.
Really?
Us
and-
too.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah.
And
And
it
it
was
was
like,
like-
there was like
it
a
was
bright
hovering-
light, too.
Yeah, it had lights on each corner,
Yep.
Mhm.
and it was like hovering above my house with no noise.
Yep. There was
Same
no
here.
noise. We thought it was a helicopter first, but there was no rudder wash. And we were like,
Really?
all right,
Dude,
we know
literally,
exactly
like,
what we're listening for.
Why is that thing not making any noise?
Yeah,
and it
and we-
was like really close to us.
Yeah, and we were all,
we
like,
should
sitting
have
there.
been able to. It was like like a 3-story building above us, but like,
Right? Yeah.
we should have been able to hear.
We
the
were on the
engines.
water too, so it would have made sense if it was a Coast Guard or something, flying over. But there was nothing. There was literally no sound
It was just
whatsoever. It was
sitting
just like the
still.
crickets and like the cicadas.
And the light was just like coming through the trees and was like illuminating mostly just.
Yeah, it
him.
was like I
I
was
was
the
like,
center
"Ooh,
of it.
You're like, because at first we didn't notice it. We were like, I was like, dude, you're like lit up right
You
now.
look down and it's just a
He's
light
like,
pool.
what? And then
it's
we
what?
looked up and we're like, what the fuck is that?
Oh
was
man,
just-
that's crazy.
Triangle just sitting there, and then it just like
Yeah, it's just like up, gone. It's like the fuck
Yeah.
just happened.
Like it came and then it went.
Mhm.
I was with my my friend who passed away. That's who I saw it with, and my mom as
Mhm.
well. All three of us saw it.
That's
and
I love that when you get like more than one person get eyes on it. So it's like there's my validation is you saw it too. I'm not just fucking crazy.
I have another experience too, but it's always good when you see it with multiple people for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I used to go fucking Bigfoot hunting too when I was a kid
No shit.
in the woods.
No shit.
never found them, but
No.
that's right. And when it would snow, I would go look for the abominable snowman.
It's purebred into us.
Yep.
So what did you guys see?
What? When?
So like you, your mom, and your
Oh
friend.
yeah,
What did you guys see?
It was just this giant black triangle
Yeah.
in the sky. It
Like
had
when you say black, was it like you could see like it was blocking out things, or like you could literally make out the shape that it just like it
you
was like
could
just
you
a
could see the
shade?
sky. It was a clear
Yeah.
night, but the ship was so black you could like clearly see the shape of it,
Mhm.
and it had lights on each corner. So like a light here, and then light here,
Mhm.
and I can't remember what color they were. They were either red or white. I'm pretty sure they were white,
Yeah.
but it was just like
You
flying
saw,
so
like,
like
the same thing as us, basically, bro.
yeah, it was just flying very slowly over my house, and we all looked up like, what the heck is that? And it was like it was the length of, I would say, like 2 trees on top of each other. That's how high it was.
Yeah. And then when it took off, like did it like accelerate, or like did it just like basically vanish?
It just went above the tree line, and then it was
Just
gone.
lost sight of it and it was
Yeah.
just gone. Yeah.
Yep. Because like where we lived in the woods,
Yeah.
and our front yard and the house basically is just a big circle cut out with no
Mhm.
trees. It went right above the circle, and then it was gone.
What do you think of crop circles?
I don't know.
That's a hard one because a lot
I
of them
think
are
they're
faked,
man-made.
which
Yeah.
a lot of them definitely could be, but it also is like extremely fucking time consuming, I would think, at least. And it's like some of them are so intricate that it's like, okay,
People-
well,
Like, how do you get them that precise?
exactly? Some of
know?
them are super fucking accurately, like just like to a T, like geometrically and spherically like correct.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, is this a star map?
Like how do you not have somebody looking at it from the sky while you make it
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
sure that
Yeah,
you know
like a
what I mean?
helicopter or a drone. I mean, I guess a drone would work.
Unless
but
you, unless
But
you
like
need,
we
like,
didn't have
GPS
drones
coordinates.
20 years ago when
yeah,
They're
yeah,
popping
even when
up.
you were still getting them back in the day, like you're
Yeah.
right,
it's like that movie Signs.
right.
movie
Or
scared
even
the shit
I'm waiting for a drone to capture something crazy on film.
well, the ones that are on top on top of like the mountains too, and like the Himalayas and shit.
Oh, I haven't seen those.
They're like, I forgot where it was, but it's like not Machu Picchu or something. It's like it's some foreign like country like that where it's like on elevation, you know, where it wouldn't make sense because it's still very not urbanized is best way to say it. And there's photos like I think this was like probably 7-8 years ago that I've seen these photos because I was in high school still at the time, so that was probably even 10 years ago. Like, you know, like it's just photos of the crop circles that are just circles with lines, you know, like geometric, like it's
Right.
and it's all like if you were to take it and print it on each side of, you know, what you're doing. And you're right, like they didn't have drones. Like how the fuck did they do that?
So it's got to be aliens.
Yeah, and, I mean, and it doesn't just happen in like say like cornfields in Michigan or like it happens
Yeah.
everywhere. Like it's definitely one of those things where it's like I want to believe it.
Are they still showing up? I haven't heard anyone talk about.
That's the thing, because nobody
crop
fucking
circles
wants
in
to believe it anymore.
years.
Because
Yeah.
everybody's like, it's just bullshit. Like it's man-made. Like you can like almost 99% of them are probably fake as fuck. But then there's probably like the few that really are real.
So maybe we're missing all these messages because we started.
I don't know. The movie Signs to me is like one of the most terrifying
that's the best
movies.
alien movie ever.
Yeah.
made.
I know it's one of the most
Yeah.
terrifying too because it's like that shit really could fucking happen and it's fucking
Dude.
scary.
That scene with the birthday party in
Oh,
like
dude,
Mexico.
that messed me up
Oh,
for
yeah,
fucking
dude, I-
life.
Yeah, I had nightmares about that. It was like
Oh
one of the
my
only
God.
movies that ever gave me
Wait,
nightmares.
ready?
Precisely. Exactly.
Oh god, and like I know like all of our aged fans are going to understand. Like I'm too
Yeah.
tall for the camera at that point, but it's like the look back at you too with the swinging of the arms and like
Bigfoot,
oh
the
my
Bigfoot,
God.
like
dude.
Patterson film esque like scene.
Did you hear that was fake? I heard that that it came out that was faked. That
really?
the person actually had a very anatomically correct ape suit that they had made for somebody, and like it just so happened that somebody had caught them out there, and when he turned, like because the whole body turns, not just the neck, that it was a suit.
Oh,
And it's like
shit.
I still don't know what if I believe it because it's like, well, show me the evidence of, you know, like the receipts and like the money trail, like, you know, for like some
They didn't have
person that
that
make
shit
it.
back then.
Why
bro.
now? Why just now did I just hear about
Dude,
that?
man, people back then didn't do receipts, bro.
I know, but you know, like that. Then it's like, well, I guess
You had to write that stuff out. The ink
the
wouldn't even last on the
credibility though
paper.
is like it's so I keep it at a high pedestal because it's like it's really good, but I don't know if I believe it all the way. I think there is better evidence, or like the giant on top of the mountain. That photo you showed me, that is wild evidence of something
Giant
being
on a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it came
was-
about that there was like a photo that was circulating Reddit and other things
Twitter.
like that, Twitter and Reddit and all that bullshit.
and TikTok and
And it's like this mountain and like in a scale sense, like you see the peak of the mountain and it's got to be like it's a long ways
200
off.
Like 200 miles away.
Oh yeah, a long ways off. But then you see like a fucking person, but it's way too fucking big to be a person because you shouldn't see a silhouette of a person standing on top of the fucking mountain.
Right.
But it's like legitimately a
Like
person
the
standing
person
there.
should be like a little.
You shouldn't even
speck.
see them at
Yeah.
all.
There should be a speck of black on that.
You don't think it's Photoshop?
It's
doesn't-
hard to say because there's no
could
distortion. It easily could be, but at the same time, it's like I do believe giants are real. We have 100% found remains of giants. So a giant living on a mountain. I mean, call the Forge God. Fuck yeah, like that'd be sick as fuck. like I'd be okay with that. But still, like I also am like, well, we have evidence of these like creatures or beings being real.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to say anything about it because it's not mainstream media. Like we sound like lunatics when we talk about it.
We are
Yeah.
lunatics.
I don't know why like the general population of people is so uninterested in talking about things like this.
Naive.
It gets a run on History Channel, and then everybody's like, "So long, goodbye." I mean, if you have cool
Yeah.
hair, like we can talk about aliens for
That's
a
the
couple
messed up
seasons.
thing is people have started to take like History Channel and just be like, this is
It's
a
turning into Comedy Central.
a conspiracy channel, right?
Right.
And really, they show a lot of historical facts and back it up with like scientific data and like.
Drunk History is one of the most factual, funniest fuck. Best shows
I
ever.
love
They're
Drunk
so-
History. I love
His-
Drunk History.
History in general is just the best.
That's another
Yeah.
thing about investigating that I just enjoy so much is you will never, ever, you can hit that, that's fine, miss like anything more than learning when you get out of high school and playing
Oh, yeah.
sports and all that shit. But then once you start investigating and you start learning the history behind these places, you're like, oh, I'm finding this like passion again where it's like, oh shit, like I almost wish I had this back when I was in school.
Right.
Where it's like, damn, I have this appreciation now where it's like, I didn't know that this building was so pivotal for, you know, like the stance on history, like, or like the Liberty Bell or like all that shit where it's like, oh, well, if you put a spin on it for things that I like if somebody would have told me it was haunted, like, yeah, like I would have 100% been okay with that.
Right.
But no, you just told me it was like this old guy did that. Like, nah, man, be like, he's around still today. If you go to this building, like, oh fuck, dude, I'm gonna learn all about this shit.
Yeah, dude, it's so true. Like I'm so much more interested in history these days as opposed to when I was in high school. Like I would see, stuff on the History Channel when I was in school and be like, okay, that's boring. I'm gonna turn it off and go watch some Family Guy or something.
But
But
now
now-
to tell you that you can go and have a conversation with Benjamin Franklin. Like,
Yeah. But now like I'll watch a 2-hour long documentary about like World War II because
Yeah.
it's it's like
I'll see like a whole fucking city in France getting exploded by bombs and it's burning, or like literally Germany is in tatters, and it's like, oh man, I could go there and like get all my equipment out and just walk down the street, and it's like, fuck, am I bad? Am I bad for thinking this, or is it like, no, like I'm learning at the same time? It's like I found an avenue
yep,
to make the learning fun for me.
exactly, dude. Exactly. But no, like you're not the only one that wants to investigate places like that because I definitely do. It's just
It's hard to say like what's off limits, you know.
it really is.
I like where is the line drawn? Because I definitely think as long as you're being respectful, I don't think there needs to be a
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Because I think there's hauntings everywhere. I don't care where you are. There's probably something that happened almost every inch
And
of this
you
planet,
can
basically.
probably get something to manifest itself if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like I definitely think don't go to places that terrible things just happen for sure.
Oh yeah,
Like, don't be that disrespectful. I
Yeah.
think there's definitely like a code that you need to live by, and it's like a morals thing where it's like, well, I don't want somebody showing up
If
in my
the family's
fucking
still mourning, don't.
yeah, like I don't
Yeah,
want somebody
yeah.
to show up at the place where I got murdered at the
Yeah.
next day to investigate it because I just got murdered there. Like that's disrespectful. Like
It
I
is
guess
weird. Like
like
it
once
would be wrong to go to that.
Yeah.
Let's say the Idaho murders that just happened a
Yeah.
few months ago. It would be kind of wrong to go do that.
I think
But
you'll
it's
know
not.
when
It's
the
not wrong
time
to
is
go to
right.
the. It's not wrong to go to the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Yeah, I
It's,
think it's like over a certain period of time, like it just becomes accepted, but it's not like a verbal like everybody's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
thumbs up, go ahead. Like I think it's just like a all right. I
It's-
think I personally I think enough time has passed that this isn't like denouncing everybody that lost lives there because they're the most important no matter what. If you go
Right.
anywhere somebody lost life in a terrible way like a murder or something like that, it's never about the murderer or the story that was about the murderer or anything like that. It's always about the victims and who they were and things like
The
that.
killer might have
Yeah.
something different to say about that, though.
Of course, but like 100%, it's like I think people too like like think that we glorify the bad things a lot. Not just us personally, because I've never
we
heard
do
that.
as a culture.
I think
fucked
it's
Yeah,
up.
I think it's very
it's
easy
Just
to
it's just
perpetuate
human
that.
culture now to make light of the darker things.
Yeah,
in
I
life.
mean, like main media is a really good point because like you look at any trial or case, like it's always about like the murderer here, and then in the small font, it's like, well, here are the victims.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it shouldn't be about him, or it shouldn't be about her. Like it should be about the people that are no longer able to speak for themselves.
Just like with
Unfortunately,
like mass shootings, like school shootings. It's always
Yeah.
the school shooter that's always being talked about. And
yeah, it's like crazy green-haired monster. Well,
yeah,
yeah, but like 10 people lost their lives that were probably like going to be like all stars at something.
right.
It sucks. It's fucking terrible.
it sucks. I hope we find our way to a better path in life. I honestly do.
I've sworn off of media and things like that just because of it. Where it's like I just can't stand it. Where it's I don't want to say like I'm feeding into the bias where main media bullshit's all this like bot and all that. Where it's like no, but I do think agendas are pushed. Like you can
Oh, yeah.
easily see it where like all this stuff is always happening. Like if you go to the sites or the things that are unrestricted news or like it's legitimately the raw footage of things, yeah, you're gonna see some really fucked up stuff, but you're gonna see a lot more of it than you ever thought was ever going on, and it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
But we
Right.
see it, like
It's
more
it's sad
and more
to think
and more
that
on
like
media.
we're here. We have guests watching us online, and somewhere something terrible is happening to people, and we might not even ever know about it in a different
Mhm.
country. Fuck, right down the street, you just don't know. And when it makes the news, unfortunately, you're just going to hear about how terrible it was when and there could have been something as well that was remarkably awesome that
Right.
benefited us, and it'll never be told.
But that's
We
because
don't even talk about AI.
Oh God, yeah. But no, the media just loves to report the negative because the negative gets more ratings and more views, and people.
Anchorman did such a good job when they were like they made the farce about it where it's like the ratings are really bad, like what do we do to make them better? And then they did the first live like car chase
Yeah.
on air, and when you look back and you look it up, it really happened like that where they were it was legitimate like like news radio like place decided like they needed that they were just going to do that as a segment like that. It just so happened that they had news out there and they're just like, oh, we got it, like whatever. Like
Well,
let's try it.
That's the same reason the Jerry Springer show turned into what it did.
Oh, and look at how many years it ran for too.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Jerry.
R.I.P. Jerry. But yeah, he originally wanted to just have like a regular normal talk show,
And it
with-
turned into a fiasco.
and all the shows that had fights had the best ratings, so that's what the show became.
Mhm. It became a backyard brawl again.
Yeah.
Rough and rowdy 35.
Backyard
Yeah,
brawl.
I always laugh, but there's just so many places that I want to go investigate. Like, Did you ever watch Destination Truth with Josh Gates back in the day?
I think I did. Yeah, sounds really familiar.
So like
Awesome show.
he would go around and investigate like a bunch of different places, and it wasn't just like
He did all over the world.
yeah, and it
Like,
it wasn't
he's done
just
Island of the
paranormal
Dolls,
stuff.
like all
It
these
was
really cool
Bigfoot,
places.
the Yahweh, like all of it, like Loch Ness. You know, there's all
still
cool
doing
stuff
this
like
shit,
that.
too.
Yeah, it's just under a different
Oh
name.
yeah, I've definitely
now.
seen that show. I know what you're
Destination
talking about
Unknown
now.
now.
Yeah, but I think the one episode that I'm convinced that I will go there one day in my life, whether I'm like 55 or fucking older. I don't give a fuck. If I'm about to die, I might just die there. Is fucking Chernobyl. Because the
Oh, yeah.
amount of like crazy activity they
Yeah, that
caught
one is
was
crazy. He caught
insane.
thermal imaging, like legit, like
People like going through
like,
doors and stuff.
What?
Yeah, and
dude,
like
Oh,
it's
that's crazy.
insane
insane.
stuff.
And then me and Riley had this theory where it's like, well, there was a fucking massive explosion for one. It killed a bunch of people. The radiation killed a bunch of people. Well, who's to say that the radiation isn't fucking supercharging the fucking energy there for the ghost to use it and manifest? Because it's like, what is fucking nuclear radiation? What do they use it
EMFs.
for?
It's
Oh, I don't know.
literally
They were
EMFs.
using it for motherfucking energy. Like
Yeah.
you can't tell me that it doesn't
So like
do something.
if you look up the measurement of a milligauss, if you reach a certain amount of milligauss,
It's like equivalent to a nuclear bomb going
equivalent to a
off.
nuclear bomb. So like
Really?
we actually had this happen once. If you
Mm.
don't have a millimeter, I recommend you get one because it's really cool to see the digital like
Where it reads out the
interpretation
numbers
of it changing. Other than like a light sensor.
Yeah, because we were looking at it and like we were baseline at like 0.5 all
Yeah.
night, and then it would spike to 3,
And
I
then
mean,
it spiked to 3,000.
Yeah, it was up there with it was
For,
like
like, a
as many
brief
numbers as it
second.
could fucking get. It looked like, and I was like, it's not broken because it's never done that.
Yeah. And we
Wow.
looked it up and it was like equivalent to like 2 nuclear bombs or something.
Yeah. I looked
That's
up.
crazy.
I was like, what is like 3 million milligauss? Like, what does that mean? Like, is that harmful? And it was like, it's the equivalent to a nuclear bomb amount of energy going off at once. I was like, what the fuck?
There was just a knock in my room. I don't know what that was. Did you hear it?
I was just about to
Yeah,
say,
I was
like,
like, what
it
was
sounded
that?
like somebody threw a rock.
Yeah, like right over there.
Interesting as fuck. We're talking about nuclear energy, and now something's trying to explode.
I know, right? That's creepy.
Flame on. Dude, that's
Yeah.
chilling. Or another one is like, just imagine like being caught in a tsunami.
Oh,
Like
man.
we covered the Fukushima reactor and like the disaster in Japan over there when they had that nuclear disaster and that tsunami.
Mhm.
I didn't realize how much loss of life happened in the rural areas of Japan because of how not built up the infrastructure was. It's like, oh fuck, like that is so traumatic.
Some of the ghost stories we read off of
They're
that too were
insane.
fucking insane.
Like
Really?
ghosts like will get into cars and they'd be sopping wet still in the clothes they were wearing the day that they were swept away. And then they would
What?
drive back to their like precinct that they lived in, or they would have tea with their family still.
Or
And when they would get
people-
up, the place they were sitting would be soaked
Or they'll see the reflections of people in
the
water.
fucking water. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And
Dude.
and people don't live there still because it's not like it's green. Like you can go there. The radiation isn't, like they got rid of all of it, but people are just like, no, like it's no.
Dude, Japan
people
has
won't
had
come
some
back.
traumatic events.
Oh yeah.
Over the course of history. Oh yeah, dude.
That's one
They've also
place that I
had some
really wanna go.
insane like wars.
Yeah.
Like if you go way back in their history, like,
Even the Philippines, people
crazy
don't
wars.
realize that if you go to a lot of those Philippine islands and you go investigate those places, that I bet you'll catch a ton of activity because a lot of the bloodiest war in World War II was fought on those islands.
not just
in
that,
Guatemala,
bro, but
or
like some of the ancient
Guadalcanal.
wars.
I mean,
Some of the
Yeah.
ancient wars that happened in that area of the world,
Mhm.
like going back to like the Romans and like
but you don't hear about people investigating those places.
Yeah. Or like
That's the thing.
Pearl Harbor.
You don't. I wonder if it's like people in Hawaii don't like people to do that.
Probably.
Which
I would
would be
assume
my
so.
best guess because
Yeah.
they
If
use it
you've
so much
never
as a
heard of the
monument.
Night Marchers,
That
a
one's fucking cool as
crazy
shit.
Hawaiian legend, bro.
The Night Marchers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Hawaiian like legend that like dates back a long time on like a certain island.
Yeah, it's on a certain island.
It's like
but
Oahu or something, I think, or
I don't even know.
I
the
don't
islands of
remember which
Hawaii,
island
I'll
it
be
is.
honest.
but like a tribe of like natives that were to the island will march through like houses and like places, and you are not allowed to look at them because like they're
You'll piss yourself.
well, for one, but like also you're said to die after that basically because they're like omens of death.
Oh god.
But it's like if you look upon their leader, which he usually is the head walking them through, but you'll hear like the chants, like the haka and like the drums and shit, and then like you'll see like I guess you're not supposed to see them, but like people have spoken of them and said they've seen them too. But it's seriously fucking cool.
It's
It
really
sounds
cool.
really-
We did
I've
a
never
whole
heard of
It
episode
has
on
to do with like I don't even remember a lot of it now because
like
we've
honor
done
and
this was literally what
2 years ago.
fuck yeah, I was gonna say fucking episode early 100, not
It
even
was
not
not
like
even in the
50s.
hundreds.
Man. Have you guys ever heard like chanting before? Like Native American chanting?
I have when I was a kid, but I think it was an actual tribe.
We've heard
actually.
more like banshee screams and shit.
Yeah, we had a banshee scream.
As
once
fucked up
was
as that
fucking
is.
crazy.
Again back to like Hinsdale House. Part of the legend there is that you will hear Indian chanting because supposedly a mass slaughter of Native Americans took place on that land. And I shit you not, when we were laying down to sleep, we heard chanting from outside of the house that was surrounding the side of the house we were on.
That's fucking wild.
It
Wow.
was the weirdest thing ever. Like I didn't hear it at first, but like the more I listened, the more I could hear it, and it sounded like oh yeah, like just the chant.
Yeah, like it
sounds
was like a straight up chant. Like
Yeah.
it's like okay, that's not normal for what I usually hear.
yeah, and it's weird
It's
because
funny you say that too, because our friend Danny, he said he heard a native speak in his like original language, which was like Ojibwe or something, and he said like a certain word. And I think Danny also is somewhat native himself.
Yeah, he is.
So like he had like heritage that was tied to it. So it's like okay, see, like he spoke in a language that wasn't normal, but like to me and you, it might sound like gibberish.
right, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's no like documentation of an actual slaughter that happened on that
Right.
land. It's just
You know what happens though.
yeah,
Like tribes
like-
were always warring. Who knows how many tribes were actually like, or how many factions of a tribe are actually around?
mhm.
We really don't know.
It's yeah, but I mean,
Right.
like there's no documentation of it, and it kind of goes into the theory like maybe do we create the haunting sometimes
Right.
with like expectations, like manifest certain things to happen, you know?
Slender Man. People
Yeah.
manifested
Like
that shit.
like it's
Yeah.
kind of like a mass hysteria type thing. Like
that is a real thing too. Or
Mhm.
gang stalking. People thinking that gang stalking is a thing. Like it's insane. It's
Yeah.
the amount of like mental fortitude it takes to not crack. And then you see some of the people that have, and you're like, oh, the yoke is everywhere. Like that's insane.
Right.
But like, oh, that could happen to all of us.
It's freaky, man. I don't know. There's so many weird phenomena that I just do not
Mhm.
understand.
The glitches in the Matrix is what we always say. Like when we see
Yeah.
like a time skip or something where it's like, I can't explain that bullshit. Like that makes zero sense. So you got me, haha.
What do you think about time travel?
It's real.
Yeah.
I think it could happen. I think it's happening more often than what we think it's happening.
I do too.
Oh,
I really do. I think it's been solved, but it's such a
I think we can travel to a time, but I don't think we can travel
exactly.
back.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's not 100% of science yet. I think they have
'Cause, like,
tested it.
What if okay, so think about this. A lot of these people that work for these secret established
Like conglomerates or companies and shit.
companies that do this kind of research, people aren't going to know who they are, right? Because they're going
Right.
to be so
Well, look
under
at how many
secrecy
shell
that
companies there could be.
they're just going to
Millions.
vanish. And there's fucking 9 billion people in the world. We can't keep
Hmm.
track of everyone. So the people that go on these time traveling missions to either fix something or learn more, there might be a way of communication back and forth, but there's probably not a way to travel back, because how do you travel back in time and use a technology that doesn't exist till the future?
Yeah,
How the fuck
that's
would
a
you do
good
that?
point. That's a really
Yeah,
good
that is a
point.
very good point.
It's
I
almost
never
like-
thought about that.
So
See,
you-
but then
you
they
would
would
have to
say,
get
but then you
trapped.
would say like, well, why don't they send people back to kill Hitler and shit like that? Well, what if we have sent people back to like change small, like alter or tweak things in the past, but like it's changed what we've perceived as like just changes in normal things like COVID type bullshit. Like, what if
Mhm.
they're sending people back and their tweaks have like sent us on that like that skew that is where we're at now? Which I mean, it's all like, well, that literally you could literally say that for anything. Like you sound like an idiot, but yeah,
But that just goes down
But
to the
it
theory
also
that
could
every
be-
action has a equal and opposite reaction.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I really don't think that.
So that's just the physics.
I don't think they're probably sending like monkeys back in time if they are, and if like let's say if a third party that's not even a government, that's just like a super wealthy person decided to hire some brilliant people to bring enough technology together to do something like that, like something straight out of a movie. And now he's like, well, now I hold the power to like, like test this and do this. Sends himself back. Well, see the picture of the guy with a cell phone walking through a shot in a movie that shouldn't have a cell phone in it.
Mhm.
Well, he sends himself back to that time, but now he's got to gather the resources, and it's going to take him 50 years to do it, and he's gonna age and probably die before he can. So now
Yeah.
it's like, all right, but like we also have the technology here, so now his successor takes it on. We might not see anything for a while. Then he decides, all right, I'm gonna fuck around with this because it's powerful. When too much power comes not enough responsibility ever.
Yeah. Or maybe like instead of like actual time travel, there's like dimension hopping, like timeline hopping. You know what I mean? Like if if somebody went back in time to kill Hitler, it wouldn't change anything in this timeline that we're in right now.
No,
You know what I mean?
Hitler's already dead and forgotten about.
Yeah. But it could
Yeah,
change
so
it.
like every time he jumps back, it's not like it's our timeline. You're jumping back to a point in time where it's like, all right, well, it's gonna veer off there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So then that would just
that would
create
make so much more
multiple-
sense.
That would
I
just
forgot about
create
that.
multiple different realities. Then,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause
Mhm.
So
every-
then it would make
every
sense
reality
on
would
why we
branch
see
off from
things
that
or like
different
hear
one.
things too, like echoes of past events that like maybe shouldn't happen places.
What
but
if these
are.
events
Yeah.
didn't happen in our reality and they happened in a different reality? And that's why we're hearing them. And that's why they don't
Or-
match the history.
Or as fucked up
Mind
as it
blown.
is too, the dreams that people have where it's like past life regression, it's
Yeah.
actually past lives from the second realities where that's who they would have been instead of this life where they were before they were ever born. Because maybe as soon as we're born, like we just drop into a new reality. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe like it's hard to say what happens after death.
Or
'Cause
maybe
who fucking knows?
whenever we die, we just hop into the next timeline where we're still alive and just keep living.
Yeah.
You
What
know
if
what I
it's that
mean?
perpetual motion where it's like, cool, now I'm rich. All right, now I'm poor. All right, now I live in Africa. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Now I live on a new planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Or we leave our vessels and we are literally who we are still, and we're just floating around and we're mist-like forms that just are eternal, which I don't know how that works. But it's just crazy.
Do you think if spirits can like travel to different locations, do you think they can go to different planets?
Oh yeah. I mean, the first thing I would do is try to go to the edge of the universe, but like it's
Yeah.
probably never ending and you'll never get
Mhm.
there. I'll
I
be
mean,
the first ambitious
If-
little cloud.
If you have free energy to just do whatever you please with that, I feel like you could do whatever you wanted. You don't
True.
have any like needs to survival.
Go walk on the moon as a ghost.
That would be
Go-
fucking sweet.
Go visit Mars.
I immediately would go to the middle of the moon and be like,
I
what
go
the fuck
find-
is in here?
I would go find the spot that they say they landed, and then you're like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
You weren't here, damn it.
I would go to
Bart's
go to
eyebrow was
Saturn.
right.
I would go to Saturn.
Saturn. That'd be
I want to dance on the rings.
Yeah, dude, me
That'd be
too.
sick as hell.
dancing on the rings.
Yeah, I mean, there would be nothing cooler than just exploring the universes and the solar systems. Like, I don't think there'd be anything more like beautiful and stunning
I don't think so either. I think it would be
Like being able
the
to
only
like,
thing that would suck is everything is so far away that it
well,
might
like
not
you,
actually look
you
like
at-
anything.
At that point, you've unlocked time travel or like fast travel, is what I like to call it.
Mhm.
Because like if you're standing on Mars, does the next planet look like a planet or does it just look like a giant star?
No, dude, look at how when you're at the
Because when we look
the
at 'em
space
now-
station looking down at Earth, it's massive, it's beautiful. You get the sphere, everything. You get to see the clouds that are like literally they look like tiny compared to like the geographical locations in the water, and you're like, oh, but really down there, up fucking close, it is fucking gnarly and massive.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, but I get to go
That's
see that
crazy,
at planets
yeah.
that are 3 times the size of Earth.
Yep. Go
Like-
go visit Venus. Go to
Mhm.
Mercury. Go. I wonder what happens if a ghost goes into a black hole.
I just want to know what happens in a black hole. That's the
I
thing
know.
that boggles my mind. Is like, is it like the Event Horizon type bullshit where like it evaporates something into like non-material, or is it like you're legitimately going into a wormhole where it's like spitting you out on another side where you're just
I
like
think
coming out
that's what it
somewhere
does.
else?
I think it's a portal of some sort.
It's
Yeah.
hard to fucking say because it's not like we can like throw a bunch of rubber ducks in there and hope we find them.
Didn't they find a planet inside of a black hole or something?
I don't know. I know 2 black holes collided.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
Maybe they go to different dimensions, timelines.
I mean, fuck.
Every
Every time
so
I think
weird
of
to wrap your
black
head
hole,
about.
I just like I see like the cartoon bullshit where it's like it just sucks everything in until everything's gone. It's like, well, that's happening because like technically it really fucking is.
Yeah.
It's like
where's it
vacuuming
going,
up
though?
everything.
Like if something like a black hole can exist,
Hmm.
what's so hard to believe that ghosts are real? Like what? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
What's more believable?
We know
Black
more
hole
about the
or
moon than we do the fucking bottom of the ocean, and you guys still don't tell me that aliens and ghosts are real.
Right.
Like, come on. There's less believable things.
There's so many weird things in reality that are actually real.
Platypus.
Yeah, I think paranormal
Why?
is one of those things that's like, out of all of the things like cryptic wise and stuff, paranormal is the most believable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so. Out of
Like
all the
not even
cryptics
like
and stuff,
like
yeah.
aliens, even like all of that. Like ghosts are the most undeniable in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Me too.
I think there's been hard proof, like caught, and people just don't want to
Honestly, like,
validate it.
You've caught evidence that proves the ghosts are real. We've caught evidence that
Mhm.
ghosts are real. Blood Moon's caught evidence that says ghosts are real.
Yeah.
Tommy Tombstone's caught evidence that says ghosts are real. Like Randy's real. Everyone, Hodge, like everyone's caught something that goes, yeah, that's for sure like paranormal. Like
Right.
100%. That's
Yeah.
not supposed to happen.
No, I completely agree with you.
Sure, you got to stay skeptical, but at the same time, nothing anybody says to me will ever make me think ghosts don't exist because I
Yeah,
know
I
they
don't-
do.
Right. You
I don't
can't.
think anybody
you
can ever
can't. You
twist
can't. You can't disprove it for me. There's just
No.
no way.
No way.
I've seen too
I-
much, experienced too much,
Mhm.
felt things that I can't explain. Like,
Exactly.
You're just a poopy pants at that point.
yeah.
A nasty little poopy pants.
Yep.
but I think it's time to wrap it up. You said you were only stay for an hour, and you stayed for 2. So thank you. That's freaking
course.
awesome.
It happens.
No, you guys are fun to talk to. I had a good time.
Hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
You are as well, man. We'll definitely have to have you on in the future.
For sure.
Hopefully one day we could meet up and actually go look for ghosts together. I think that would be
That'd be
That
sick.
would be
probably a
sick.
dope ass time.
At Trans Allegheny.
That
That would be a fucking sick collab.
That would be dope. That would be dope.
would
I'm
be
down.
Absolutely filthy.
Hell
But
yeah.
I put all of your links down below. So if you're interested in finding his videos and
You
more of his
should.
content, definitely go click that link down there and go like
It's fire.
and subscribe all of his shit.
Hell yeah. Thanks, guys.
And remember to keep your ears and eyes open for what really goes.
Bump in the night.
There it is.
Ah, the catchphrase.
All right.
Thank you guys.
See y'all. Have a good night.